Hello, Patriots, and welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm your host, Gary Franchi, and we're streaming live to millions on YouTube and simultaneously broadcasting on Rumble, Facebook, X, Instagram, where else? LinkedIn. Yeah, all the places. So make sure you're following us on all platforms because big tech censorship is real, and we need backup channels. And share the stream right now via text message to your family and friends. That's how we bypass their algorithms. Ex-viewers, hit that repost button and spread this to your followers. I hope you had a great weekend. I know we had a rough week last week. The weekend wasn't any easier. I'm sure you guys went to some memorials. I know I did on Sunday, and it was beautiful to see everybody coming together, seeing some old friends as well. I wish it was under different circumstances. But on this day in history, September 15th, 1963, the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing in Birmingham killed 4 young girls in an act of racial terrorism that shocked the nation. Today we face a different kind of political violence, but the evil is the same. Those who use terror to silence voices, who celebrate death for political gain, who coordinate violence in chat rooms, they're the spiritual descendants of those bombers. And just like America, we rose up then and we are rising up now. Now, the FBI just cracked open a conspiracy so dark and so coordinated it makes Watergate look like jaywalking. Charlie Kirk, he wasn't killed by a lone wolf. He was hunted by a pack. Discord logs show 20-plus conspirators planning for days. They waited for Kirk's trans comment to pull the trigger. The assassin's DNA is on the rifle, his confession is on Discord, and the militant group Armed Queers of Salt Lake City mysteriously deleted all their accounts on the same day that Kirk died. Coincidence? Well, the FBI says no. They're investigating 7 accounts that showed foreknowledge of the murder. One post from September 3rd reads, "It'll be funny if someone like Charlie Kirk got shot on September 10th. And that's when the murder happened. It's not prediction, that's called planning. Meanwhile, President Trump just bent China over a barrel in Madrid. While you were sleeping, U.S. negotiators forced Beijing into a framework consensus on TikTok. China's Vice Minister Li Changgang admitted it on the record. Xi Jinping speaks with Trump this Friday to surrender control of their digital weapon they've been brainwashing your kids with. Trump's not asking, he's telling. And the market's responding. Record highs while Trump roasts the Fed chair Powell as too late Powell. When reporters asked about replacing Powell, Trump shot back, other than, I don't like him? Well, the Supreme Court is about to hear Trump's tariff case, a ruling that could cement American economic dominance for generations. But Trump is not just winning the trade wars, he's winning the war on our streets. Memphis has become a carjacking capital where grandmothers get body slammed and mothers face multiple guns in minutes. Last weekend alone, downtown shooters sprayed bullets at passing cars. A woman was murdered, a child injured, and their response? Well, the National Guard rolls in today. No more catch and release, no more revolving doors. Noem confirms that foreign governments use Biden's border chaos to embed sleeper cells in American cities. Venezuelan gangs, cartel soldiers, well, they're about to meet American steel. And if that's not enough to blow your mind, the universe itself seems to be weighing in. Viral videos circulating show a meteorite crashing in Panama on August 29th and then growing tentacles. Locals call it an incubator for alien life. TikTok videos show it smoking, transforming, becoming something alive. But is it really? Or is it just a big hoax? At the same time, UFO orbs respond when witnesses speak Jesus' name. And there's actually video proof. Crystal clear footage emerges from Lake Havasu showing a craft with amazing clarity even by today's standards. One witness claims he's seen over 100 UAPs. When someone aimed a laser at one craft, backup shifts arrived like a military response team. Even Joe Rogan admits, no one tells me anything about UFOs anymore. If you want to stay up to date, download the Next News app for breaking alerts. The links are below. You can get our exclusive merch at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. You know what sets the Raw feed apart is your live reactions. Super chats and Rumble rants will be on screen, so send them in now. Support privately via the donation links in the description. You can also become a YouTube member for exclusive perks and Discord access. From political assassination to economic domination, from street warfare to cosmic phenomena, this is your Raw feed. Truth unfiltered, news uncensored, reality unvarnished. So buckle up, Patriots, because it's about to get real. And let's welcome you to the show. Scooby Dragon, Jeremy Olson, Bits Rules, Pothead Kenny, Karen Finley, Michael Jones, Sure You, Gospel is here. Cheng Pyong is here. Corey Mays, Brand 47, Michael Jones, Keating Ulrich Simmons says, I am Stephen Miller. Tyson Curie, what's up from the state of Charlie Kirk? Yes, we are all in the state of Charlie Kirk now. And the madness got to be the Iron Lion in Zion. Michael Jones, imagine that. Let's get rolling. He wants to hear the news. Snipes in the house, Transcendent Scholar, Willow Raven, Sean Bomber, Oz Video Pro. I want to see those tentacles. Well, those will be up later in the show, so stick around. Not My Real Name is here. Penny Berg is here. Lori B, Daisy Freedom Fighter, Omar, Anubis Reaper, Valda, John Kirby, Patricia, Beatrix, and our first super chat, AJ Cruz. Digital weapons in 2025 are convincing people that being evil is okay. Thank you for that, AJ Cruz. Dropping the first super chat. Breaking the seal, as they say. Thank you for that. What's up, PJ in Georgia? Our Boyd in the house. Everybody's here. It's great to see y'all. Remember, as you're watching this show, each of these segments is then published independently following the program. So if there's anything that you like or you want to see again, just make sure you're subscribed and your notifications are turned on so that you will be notified when those videos are published. And yes, I know a lot of people don't get the notifications. It's a major problem with this platform. So that's why you got to follow us on all platforms. All right, let's get into it, Brian. We got news to cover. The FBI just uncovered something that should terrify every American. What started as one man's murder has exploded into evidence of coordinated political terrorism. Discord servers buzzing with assassination plans, military-style coordination between armed groups, social media posts predicting death before it happened. And when the trigger was pulled, the digital celebration was instant and coordinated. This isn't just about Charlie Kirk anymore. This is about a network of extremists who've turned political disagreement into death sentences. They planned it, they executed it, and they bragged about it. The evidence overwhelming. The conspiracy is real. And the implications for every conservative voice in America are chilling, so stay with us. Now, let me ask you something. If you've built up $100,000 or more in investments, do you really want it all riding on the stock market? Think about it. Banks, billionaires, even entire countries are loading up on physical gold and silver. Why? Because when markets swing, real assets hold their value. So I want to tell you about Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to own investment-grade gold and silver, the same kind the big players are buying, and you can actually hold it in your hand or put it safely in your retirement account. You've worked hard for your wealth. Isn't it time you protected it? Noble Gold's family-owned, trusted by thousands, and ranked #1 in gold IRAs 4 years in a row. Their precious metal specialists are standing by to answer your questions and walk you through every step. Simple, safe, easy. Visit nextnewsgold.com today. That's nextnewsgold.com. Time to protect what you have built. Or you can give them a call. The number on the screen, 877-646-5347. President Trump, just 24 hours ago, he knows where the problem is. The problem is on the left.
When you look at the problem is on the left. When you look at the problem is on the left. It's not on the right, like some people like to say on the right. The problem we have is on the left. And when you look at the agitators, you look at the scum that speaks so badly of our country, the American flag burnings all over the place, that's the left. That's not the right. Well, the problem is on the left.
The problem is on the left. We got the timeline here of the shooting, of the Discord messages, And I did a deep analysis based on what we've now learned, that the shooter who was perched on that roof in Utah, he was actually watching. He was watching the stream, the live stream of Charlie Kirk giving his remarks, taking questions. Now, the other day, when this all happened, everyone's speculating about what happened and how and who was involved. Remember, there was that weird, those people that got arrested right on site, almost immediately. And then there was the question that preceded the shot. And everyone's like, well, this seems too coordinated. Well, now we're learning that there was, in fact, a stream that he was watching. These messages have now been revealed. September 7th, 2:30 p.m., Tyler checked the UVU spot. Tyler says, I checked the UVU spot yesterday. Tyler is the confessed shooter. Rooftop is perfect. Going to climb up early, wait for Kirk's trans comment BS. Got the stream ready on my phone to time it. So I went back after I saw this message, and I watched the video again. And as soon as the question is done, 15 seconds later, the shot goes off. And that lines up with a delay on a live stream. If you ever watch a live stream, if you've ever done a live stream, you know there's always latency. Every platform has a different level of latency. So what was happening is he was sitting there perched with his rifle, waiting for the moment that he knew a question was going to be asked. He knew, because trans shooters have been in the news just repeatedly. Charlie Kirk constantly talking about them. They knew it was going to come up. So when the person came up to ask the question, which was not connected to the shooter in any way, because that person who asked the question came forward later and discussed what he was asking. If he was part of the conspiracy, he wouldn't have gone on national television to talk about it. So the question was asked. He waited for that question, boom, and pulled the trigger. 15 seconds. So almost to the moment that person finished the question, he heard it in the stream. 15 seconds later, pulled the trigger, and an unfortunate history was made. Checked the UVU spot yesterday. Rooftop's perfect. Going to climb up early. Wait for Kirk's trans comment BS. Got the stream ready on my phone to time it. The context here describes scouting the UVU rooftop. Maintenance access 200 yards from the stage. Plans to use a live stream, likely X or TPUSA feed, to cue the shot after Kirk's expected anti-trans remark. Executed at 12:23 p.m. September 10th after the word too many comment. That's from the affidavit. Tyler, 2:35 on September 7th says, we need to make sure I can get away afterwards. Going to be so many people, cops will be swarming. Expressing concern about the post-shooting chaos and police response, indicating awareness of the event's scale and need for a quick response. 9:45 p.m. He talks about the engravings on the casings. Hey, fascist, catch, etc. Robinson shared a meme of Kirk with a red X over his face, captioned clown. 8:15 p.m. Got to grab that rifle from the drop point near Orem soon. It's set up in a bush stash, easy to find. Got a dope scope for long shots. Sounds intense. Be safe. Luna responds at 8:20. These are the chat logs people have been sharing. The chat began after FBI's 12 p.m. MDT release of the suspect photos. Link email, dark clothes, sunglasses, flag shirt. On September 11th, during the manhunt, Robinson used a John Arbuckle, Garfield's owner, avatar with a confused face. The server included St. George High School peers, gaming buddies, and furry trans Antifa Discord users. Messages are frantic, meme-heavy, and show Robinson deflecting suspicion. 1 p.m. User, still unidentified. Yo, Tyler, where you at? 3 skull emoji. Links FBI suspect photo. People already in the chat asking, where are you? 102. Tyler responds, LMAO, that's my doppelganger trying to get me in trouble. Robinson deflecting, joking the photos show a lookalike framing him. That's from the New York Times. 1:05 p.m. User 2, still unidentified. Tyler killed Charlie. Context, accusatory, repeated for emphasis, amplifying the group's mix of shock and jest. Source, New York Times. User 3, still unidentified. Y'all see the reward, $100,000 from FBI. We could split it if we snitch. Full Discord records should come out September 17th. Still can't believe we're reporting this. It's such a tragedy. 24 hours ago, the FBI Director Kash Patel, this was big breaking news over the weekend. Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin lived with a transgender partner who is now cooperating with the FBI, according to officials. However, we are learning that Tyler is no longer cooperating with the FBI. And wokeness, 24 hours ago, this is the group known as Armed Queers of Salt Lake City. They help arm, train, and recruit in Utah. They deleted their account on September 10th. The revolution will not be voted in. Join Armed Queers. Here's some images of them doing their thing. Allegedly. They deleted their socials. Utah-based militia group Armed Queers of Salt Lake, which trains individuals to use weapons to defend trans rights, deleted its account the day that Charlie Kirk was killed. Why would they do that? Now authorities are investigating whether Tyler Robinson believed Charlie Kirk's views on gender identity were hateful to people like Robinson's transgender roommate. 6 sources familiar with the case tell Axios. Well, of course, that's what he believed. This is the membership application for the group. It's now surfacing. People likely using archived website services to find this information since most of it's been scrubbed. Armed Queers of Salt Lake City is a revolutionary LGBTQ organization dedicated to defense and success of oppressed people's movements. This forum is for those interested in organizing with Armed Queers and working towards potential membership. Now, if you want, you can pause this. You can zoom in on it. I'm not going to pay too much attention to it, but you can see this is their membership form. This is their logo. Looks real friendly, doesn't it? I pulled that from their Linktree URL. Benny Johnson, 48 hours ago, spoke with the top FBI officials who made it very clear they have not ruled out co-conspirators in Charlie Kirk's assassination. That assumption is premature. This investigation is just beginning. An enormous amount of evidence has been seized, both digital and physical. FBI sources assure me the public will know everything about the dark internet history, chats, and affiliations of Kirk's left-wing political assassin. The source then alluded to some online groups attempting to delete or destroy evidence. We have everything, the FBI says. We are focused on the radicalization element. The truth will not be hidden or buried or classified. The public will know. And it's very important for us to understand the radicalization pipeline so that we can stop it, so it could never happen again. This is only the beginning. More visuals related to the Armed Queers Salt Lake City reposting the Utah Alliance Coalition. More visuals from some of their archived posts. Raw's alerts. FBI, in coordination with state agencies, has formally opened investigation into multiple leftist organizations in Utah for possible advanced knowledge of the Kirk incident. Now, I want to get to some of Kash Patel's remarks that he's just made 12 hours ago, Red Wave Press, stating FBI Director Kash Patel on Charlie Kirk's assassin's motives. Let's listen.
Accurate, but we've learned some shocking things when we spoke to his family and friends as well.
You want to share them? Those shocking things?
Sure. And my job as FBI director is not to speak to motive, is to speak to the facts. And that's what I'm going to do. His family has collectively told investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology, and even more so in these last couple of years. And he had a text message exchange, he the suspect, with another individual, in which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. Those are factually accurate investigatory findings by the FBI that we've handed over to the local authorities and the federal authorities to make their prosecutorial decisions. But I believe in this instance of such public importance, the public has a right to know. And I've told you I'm committed to transparency, and that's what I'm doing here today. But we've learned some
shocking information coming to light now. As you may have heard, the alleged shooter's grandmother was shocked to learn that her grandson was involved in this because they come from a conservative family. But again, the radicalization pipeline needs to be disclosed. When did it begin and how? Here is Dan Bongino on Fox News.
And I don't want anyone. Kash Patel said earlier today that he expressed to someone that he had an opportunity to take out the killer and was going to do it. Did that person do anything with that information?
Yeah, that's what we're really disturbed about. It appears that this was communicated. You see this a lot, Bill, when in targeted violence cases, assassinations, school shootings, where the individual expresses in advance, in a good swath of these cases, his desire or her desire to do these specific things. That appears to be the case here as well, where the intent component was there in advance, and the target was announced in advance prior. Now, that's the part we want to know. Did they know and not say? Now, Bill, you have to keep in mind, and I don't want anyone to jump to conclusions on this. Did they say it, hear it, and think it was some kind of a joke? That's what we're trying to find out now. But I promise you, if there's a larger network here, we're going to get that out to the public as soon as we can. We really are.
Kash Patel.
Now, as we know, the Discord logs are starting to come out, and as people are trying to understand what they mean, it's really difficult. I mean, you know how things can get lost in translation, in a text message, in a chat room, what is being said and what's the inference for those remarks, and that's what they're trying to digest. You just heard him say it. Did they think it was just a joke initially, right? People say ridiculous things in chat rooms, but then all of a sudden the event takes place, and now everyone in that chat room goes, wait a second, if we snitch, we get $100,000, right? Because they figured it out. And he also admitted it. He admitted it in the Discord. Now, Kash Patel also noting that a screwdriver was found on the rooftop where Charlie Kirk's assassin was positioned, along with a towel wrapped around the rifle that was found in the woods containing DNA positively matching to Tyler Robinson. Now, I think a lot of people were asking questions as to, when you watch the video of Tyler dropping off the roof, people are like, well, I don't see a gun, right? We saw the video of him limping as he was walking towards the campus, and because the gun was hidden in his pant leg. But when he jumped off the rooftop, clearly he was able to jump without, having a gun in his leg. So it's very simple to understand. He disassembled the gun, made it into a compact situation, and was able to take it apart with a screwdriver. That's what I believe. So let's listen to Kash Patel on that screwdriver.
FBI Director Kash Patel joins us now. I can't imagine, Mr. Director, how busy you've been, especially Charlie Kirk isn't just a impactful person, he's your friend. So I understand that. But having said that, people are looking to you to find out is how big this investigation is going to be. Can you tell us the latest?
Absolutely. It's so good to be with you. And you're right. My personal feelings and relationship with Charlie, I have a job to do for the American people, and I've committed to do it for President Trump. We flexed all resources the FBI had and surged multiple air assets as soon as this shooting occurred. We were cycling in agents, evidence response technicians, hostage rescue technicians, and special operators in and out of Utah, cycling evidence back and forth on these FBI planes as soon as we could so that there was no delay. And what we did once I got there, along with the deputy on the ground around 5 p.m. local on September 11th, was walk the entire crime scene, including the foots the suspect himself took. And what we learned was there was evidence, DNA evidence that could be collected and had been collected, including a screwdriver that was found on the rooftop. Also, we went over to the scene in the wooded area where the firearm was discarded. And the firearm had a towel wrapped around it. It's important. I'll get back to that later. I even walked into the wooded area in the ravine, so I knew from my investigative experience what I could bring to the table and what decisions I needed to make. And having the support of President Trump and the full support of the White House was what we needed for these resources to happen. And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
So, Mr. Director, that is vital. That is breaking news and vital information, because now you have the casings for the gun. So you connect the gun. Now you got his DNA on it. That's huge. But I also want to get to another part.
I just got to interrupt. Sorry, I just got to interrupt. We have the DNA on the screwdriver that was found on the rooftop and the towel that the firearm was wrapped in. The firearm itself, this is a great point. Thanks for raising it.
Yeah, no problem.
That is being processed by ATF laboratories in Maryland, and I believe they'll speak to that at a later date when their process is incomplete. But I just want to let you know the FBI handled the screwdriver and the towel found on the scene.
That is important clarification, Mr. Director.
FBI.
So DNA evidence has been revealed. A transgender that Tyler Robinson's boyfriend follows on TikTok celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. We've seen visuals of that repeatedly online. Here's more from Kash Patel. His family has collectively told investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology.
My job as FBI director is not to speak to motive, is to speak to the facts. And that's what I'm going to do. His family has collectively told investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology, and even more so in these last couple of years. And
we played that clip, but yes, we're still trying to understand that pipeline. Washington Free Beacon, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, is investigating social media posts by at least 7 different accounts that appear to indicate foreknowledge of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, according to 3 people familiar with the investigation, and screenshots obtained by the Free Beacon. Here is one of those screenshots. It'd be funny if someone like Charlie Kirk got shot on September 10th, LMAO. That was posted on September 3rd by a person named Mushy. And speaking of lunatics, we have Jasmine Crockett. On MSNBC, Jasmine Crockett declares the Democrats are at war with the Republicans. She claims they will win. And then the MSNBC host says, pick up a weapon. We are at war. Listen to this.
But this is a war. This isn't a battle. And we absolutely will win this war.
It is a war. It is indeed a war. And I have to say, they have won some battles, Jasmine, but we have to keep our eye on the war, and everybody needs to pick up a weapon. And
now, this clip from MSNBC was on Crosstalk. And you can see on the graphic on the screen, prosecutors in Georgia and New York closing in on Trump. So this was during the height of the persecution of President Trump. But this is another example of the rhetoric that contributed to the moment that we are all in.
we have to keep our eye on the war, and everybody needs to pick up a weapon. And
everyone needs to pick up a weapon, she says. Well, some people heard that call, didn't they?
And get involved, because this is for the safety and lasting of the country. And
everyone needs to pick up a weapon. 11 hours ago, Dan Bongino also on Fox. There appear to have been multiple warning signs.
There appear to have been multiple warning signs. You just laid out some of them. There were people in his network, friends and family, who had stated that he had become more political, that he had become, at some parts, I believe some of his coworkers had stated that he had kind of detached himself when the topic of politics came up and walked away from them. Family members said he'd become more political, leading us to believe that this ideology had infected him and had taken over. And he was just intent, it appears, from the data we've accumulated and the channel and that note, which we have some evidence may have existed before based on the communications in that channel, that his target was obviously going to be Charlie and that people knew in advance. The question is, again, I just want to go back to what you had asked before. Did they know? Were they sure of this? Or did they hear this and just write it off? That's what we're going to have to find out.
We're still investigating here now. J.D. Vance covering the Charlie Kirk show today. We'll have more on that later, but he made this post. He says, if we want to stop political violence like what happened to Charlie Kirk, we have to be honest about the people who are celebrating it and the people who are financing it. History was made. Again, I don't think we've ever seen a vice president host an entire podcast before. And if there's ever a time, this would be the time. J.D. Vance, Charlie Kirk were very close friends. Here's another transgender account has been found to have had prior knowledge of the assassination. That's now 6 far-left trans terrorists who have had advanced knowledge. Usamu Ben Tizuka, 5 days. This is on 9/10. You guys have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know when you see it. That was posted 9/10 at 4:52 p.m., which would have been after the shooting. And then we have this published 4 hours ago. Charlie Kirk, assassin, posted the confession on Discord after the murder, according to the Washington Post. Hey guys, I have bad news for y'all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this. Thanks for all the good times and the laughs. Let's listen.
Washington Post says that.
All right, breaking right now, reports of a confession posted on Discord from Charlie Kirk's suspected assassin hours before, after the murder, but hours before his father turned him in to authorities in Utah. This is Washington Post reporting on this at this point. Justice correspondent David Spunt joining me now live from Washington. Hi, David. What can you tell us?
Hi, Martha. About 2 hours before he was turned into authorities, this according to the Washington Post. We are working to independently confirm this as well, but the Washington Post says that Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old suspect charged in Charlie Kirk's murder, confessed, and I want to read this according to the Washington Post, writing on Discord, that social media chat group that the FBI says he used, quote, "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this." This coming from the Washington Post. Now, this comes as DOJ officials began late last week and over the weekend looking at the potential for at least one federal charge. No guarantee they'll get there. A department spokesperson declined comment, but a source familiar said investigators are not ruling anything out at this time, especially his online gaming presence, his chats, as we just mentioned. Who was he talking to? What did he say? FBI Director Kash Patel said this earlier this morning. Watch.
He had a text message exchange, he, the suspect, with another individual, in which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for.
This investigation is just begun. This isn't even the beginning of the beginning. You know, yes, we have a subject in custody. You know, everybody's innocent until proven guilty in our constitutional republic. However, this is not done by any stretch.
Patel also batting down criticism from some even on the right about his handling of the probe. He put out a social media post hours after Kirk died saying that there was a subject in custody only to be released, and he addressed that, saying that he could have worded it a little bit better. Today at the FBI, history was made when former Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey became the co-deputy director along with Dan Bongino. When we asked what this means, all parties involved on the record say this is a positive move for the Bureau, Martha.
So now we have a co-deputy director at the FBI. Real Political Data says, thank you for the work of some people. We have shocking revelation account on Twitter. It was just deleted because it got exposed. It existed that matched the same name of a TikTok that followed the alleged roommate of the shooter. Second image is him confirming it's the same TikTok as an earlier tweet. But the shocking part is the fact that it not only celebrated Kirk's death, but used the term "we effing did it" in one of the tweets that announced the death of Kirk. So taking a look here, this is the account, Churbum75M. And you can see here it is again. Oh my goodness, what a horrible thing. The face I make before I get, oh wow. Unbelievable, these sick people. And here's the post that says, "We effing did it. Saw Tyler June 30th. And they were, quote, tweeting that Charlie Kirk has died at the age of 31. So clearly they were posting the foreknowledge of the event. Now we have this. Tyler Robinson's roommate, who tipped off the FBI, has now been officially identified as someone who is transitioning and is also a member of the furries. We have Tyler Robinson, 22, and Lance Twig, 22, is transgender male to female. OWO is when a furry nuzzles you back and pounces on you and you notice a bulge. That was one of the messages inscribed on the bullets. Bella Ciao was also in reference to anti-fascist folk song. Hey, fascist catch, with the 3 down arrows meaning mic drop. It is not fake. The partner is named Lance Twig, fully cooperating with FBI. Neighbors have also said they live together. The images and text are from the New York Post here, trending now in U.S. News. Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin lived with transgender partner. This is from the Post. Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, was living with a transgender partner who was in the process of transitioning from male to female. A law enforcement source confirmed to the Post on Saturday. The individual is yet to be publicly identified by authorities, not fully cooperating with the FBI on its investigation into the fatal shooting of the conservative activist. A source added the relationship was first reported by Fox News' Brooks Singman. According to public records, Lance Twiggs, 22, resided at the same address where Robinson lived. A relative of Twiggs confirmed to the Post Saturday that, yes, they were roommates. Apparently, they were more than roommates. Make these people famous. Watch the last 30 minutes of this live saying that Charlie Kirk being assassinated is a good thing. More coming, just getting warmed up. One stated that she was waiting on a promotion so she could do more.
The memes I got, y'all should be, I have one thing keeping me from going crazy. I got to wait till my promotion.
I can't believe these people. I'm not even going to bother presenting these people. Completely disgusting. So, more information is continuing to come in. We're going to continue to track this investigation and just get down to the bottom of this pipeline, this radicalization pipeline. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. Now, this is not just another political murder story, Patriots. This is proof that the radicalized left have weaponized violence as policy. When chat rooms coordinate assassinations, when militant groups train with rifles while preaching revolution, when killers confess on Discord like they're posting a victory selfie, we've crossed into territory that threatens every voice of dissent in America. The FBI's investigation reveals what we have warned about: organized cells operating with military precision using encrypted communications, timing attacks for maximum impact. They killed Charlie Kirk not just to silence him, but to send a message to you. So here's my question. Should armed political militias be classified as domestic terror organizations? Drop a yes or a no. Drop your answer in the comments. Because until we treat political violence like the terrorism it is, more patriots will die. And while they plot in the shadows, we stand in the light. If you want to support our work, check out our merch shop. It's linked below. Wear your values proudly. Okay. Check some of these things here real quick. Yeah, Todd, there was some stuff here that shouldn't have been in this folder. I got to move it out. Okay, we're going to keep going. We got some more news on this. More reaction. Yeah, you could queue them up, I guess. I'm not sure. We will have a guest in this next segment. I just want to make sure. Okay, he's at the airport. Okay. All right, let me just. Okay, he'll join via phone. Perfect. Okay, let me just see where we can go from here before we get to that. Okay, we've got a lot of reaction from this weekend. Vigils happening all over the country. I attended one of them. And I want to find the clip here. This is the one clip. Okay, so we've got that. I do have word from the student who I spoke with. Okay. All right. How much time do you think he needs, Brian? Because I want to make sure. Because I can run a couple of these other clips before I get to his clips from New York. Okay. All right. Let me just see where we're at with. I know we put those clips in here from New York. Let me see. I thought we did. Yeah, there's the NYU College Republicans. Those are the clips we're going to refer to. Ed Zoll will be joining us. He was in New York at the event that was disrupted by radicals. So make sure you guys stick around. Because I've got some other clips we can play as we wait for him. Okay. All right. Go. From NASCAR flyovers to New York City streets, from White House tributes to Texas highways, America just sent a message that no assassin's bullet can silence. What happened in the last 72 hours proves something powerful about this nation. When political violence strikes, when hate tries to erase a voice, when the radical left celebrates murder, the American people don't cower. They rise. They gather. They chant. They paint rocks and honor the fallen. But while patriots mourn and unite, the education establishment shows its true colors by investigating memorial tributes while the real killers walk free. Contrasts couldn't be clearer. The battle lines couldn't be sharper. Wait till you see what happens next. And while America mourns Charlie Kirk, we do need to talk about building strength, not just as a movement, but personally. We couldn't do this show without our sponsors. When darkness strikes, we respond by becoming our best self. And that's why I trust Ageless Multi-Collagen to keep me sharp and strong for the fight ahead. It provides 5 must-have types of premium collagen that help reduce wrinkles and boost skin elasticity. Since I started taking it, I've noticed smoother skin, fewer fine lines, and a more youthful glow. It mixes perfectly with my morning coffee. No taste, no clumps. Grab yours at 51% off at healthwithgary.com while the offer lasts. That's healthwithgary.com. We thank our sponsors for making this program possible. Now, this was the scene when I went to the vigil last night in Northbrook, Illinois, at a park that I used to play at as a young child with my mother. I went there with my kids, and it was beautiful to be in that park again, but sadly, for the reason I was there, wish it was for other circumstances. There were young kids there that gave me hope. And what was really beautiful is that these kids from Turning Point, they were bold. So bold. I posted this clip. The full, if you want to watch the full vigil from Northbrook, Illinois for Charlie Kirk, it is on our YouTube channel. It's also on X. You can watch it in full. It's about 45 minutes. Getting wonderful response from people. Over 100,000 views on X already. But this was, I think, one of the turning points of that vigil. Students exposed Glenbrook North administration blocking a conservative club while approving leftist one. Dr. Michael Tarjan denied Turning Point USA, but approved Students Demand Action. Now, Students Demand Action is an anti-gun group. And they want you to email the number on this, the email on the screen and the number at his office. Now, I'm going to show you this clip. And what I learned is I just text the young man to ask him if there's an update. And he said to me, let's see, where did it go here? Let's see here. Oh, yeah, here he said, I asked him for an update. And he says, apparently, sources tell me there was an emergency meeting with the school administration today. Please remind viewers to keep it civil and be respectful in the comments. That is what Charlie would have wanted. He was always the most respectful person. God bless. I got another message from someone who was at the event as well. This is Sean Miles, one of the students who planned the vigil for Charlie Kirk last night. I got your number. I would love to share my story of being a conservative voice in such a liberal area. I have faced tremendous pushback from fellow students, teachers, administration, being involved in conservative politics in the area and being a conservative voice on campus. Sean Miles, a senior at Glenbrook North High School. This is the next generation, folks. Watch.
Encouraged me to start a chapter at my high school. Unfortunately, school administrators have not approved the chapter yet. We've tried multiple times, as Peter stated. This year we're going to try again. Glenbrook North, we're at Glenbrook North, and unfortunately they're not approving it.
Dr. Michael Tarjan, Director of Student Activities, has denied our right of free speech. Email him. We need to start a chapter. We need to spread this movement. And we have to recognize that we have to continue his movement, and we have to make it even bigger and even stronger. I tried to get Turning Point USA approved to Glenbrook North last year with my friend Nate. They denied us. Wait, you know what club they allow? Students Demand Action.
Why did they deny you?
They said our club already exists, but it didn't. It was a news club. That is nowhere near Turning Point. We need to get clubs approved at every high school around the nation. We must continue this fight. The administrators denied the club.
His name?
Dr. Michael Tarjan. Please email him. Who wants his email? Get your phones ready to write it down so you can send him emails right now.
Yeah!
Everyone ready? MTARJAN at Glenbrook GLENBROOK 225.org. Send him emails. Help us get our club approved. Help us continue Charlie's mission. We must spread this. We cannot let our kids live under Democrat rule. We need capitalism in our country. Thank you guys for coming.
Encouraged me to start a chapter.
Now, I want to be clear that the information that is being presented here is public record. This is a public school. So we're not revealing anything that's private or, anything of that nature. We're not doxing anybody. This is a public official. And this post now seen 228,000 times. And this is in the liberal stronghold of Northbrook, Illinois, where it was peaceful. But you know where it wasn't peaceful? New York City. And we're joined now by Ed Zoll, who was there on the ground. If you don't know who Ed is a producer, an investigative reporter with Died Suddenly on X. You may have seen the film. Ed, there he is. Looks like you're traveling from the airport. Ed, I want to get these video clips queued up. And while I do that, tell everybody what your experience was in New York.
Well, in New York, I think I experienced the rawest of the reality that we have in this country, which is that one of the parties, their literal platform is to murder their opposition, to scream and abuse and to deplatform. The people that we ran into, Gary, are probably only a hair's width away from the extremities of what you would see in Chicago. I saw a lot of people, and especially young adults, that debate who've given up on the and in the First Amendment, and they're not kinsmen, they're not countrymen of you and I. That's what I saw. And it was a very shocking thing, really, to experience in person. Of course, both you and I have reported on the ground at quite some incredible places, so we're not shocked by much anymore. But I was very disappointed, not just by the ghoulish nature of many of these people. Some people that were of the killer who wrote the Bella Cow song on casings, but more than this, that they're willing to crash a vigil. I don't think I've ever heard of someone hating another person so much that they would show up at someone's essentially their funeral, a memorial, a place where we're supposed to memorialize and respect the dead and maybe remember some of the things that we respected and loved about these people. There was a line that we didn't cross between the two parties, but Gary, what New York showed me is there is no. It's an open season. Unfortunately for them, that means they're willing to shoot and kill us to win the fight.
Now, Ed, I'm on screen here. This is one of the tweets you sent me from the NYU College Republicans. Looks like a guy who you'd normally think would be playing a happy little song, a little ditty, by a fountain. But instead, this is what he's playing. And I can hear your voice saying, "We will pray for your salvation." I watched this a couple times. I saw you throughout this, and you're telling, we're going to pray for you. You're in a very, very dark place. But listen to the lyrics. It's really sad.
Very, very dark place. I don't want your salvations.
Why?
I want you to fucking die. We're not going to give you a second chance, even when you beg for it on your knees, begging and pleading.
And that's just a portion, Ed. I mean, how long was this guy on the ground harassing people who were mourning?
From the beginning. So we showed up at about 8. I was helping the NYU College Republicans, conduct the vigil. It's funny, Gary, because we're the old guys now, right? We're the guys
Yeah.
that know how to do production. We're the ones the young guys come to for advice and to help out. And look, these young guys, they shouldn't have to deal with a bloody memorial, let alone, the harassment that they experienced here. But yeah, from the beginning, he showed up with his guitar and he said, I am not only going to disrupt this, but I'm going to expose all of you as satanic Nazis, right? And then he proceeds to sing this ghoulish hymn, which is right behind the memorial, by the way. Parents are showing up. People from all over Manhattan are showing up to pay their respects to Charlie Kirk. And then they have to listen to this guy who's singing essentially an incitement to violence. He's singing a ballad to a future assassination. He even threatened the president of the New York, the NYU College Republicans. His name's Ryan. This young kid hadn't dealt with something like this before, but I told him this. You can't cower in the face of pure evil. And isn't it proof of what we're facing? As you heard him say in that clip, he's literally saying that we should all die. He's wanting all of us to die at a memorial, right? It just tells you where their tone, their mindset, and their mission's at.
Well, there was a moment that you also shared with me that the college Republicans are overpowered the screeching liberal counter-protesters with the national anthem at their vigil. Brings a tear in my eye.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright.
I mean, the only way to get through these moments is to rely on our heart and our patriotism and our love of God and Jesus. And you guys were able to overpower that moment. What were some of the reactions from people on the ground? Like you said, some of these kids have never experienced something this evil before.
But a lot of the kids felt that they were meeting the shooter, the same kind of person that killed Charlie Kirk. They felt like they were coming face to face with pure evil. And look, the national anthem, we sang Amazing Grace. We had to sing to make sure the whole thing didn't just become taken over by these agitators, these Satanists, these absolute morons, by the way. A lot of these people were students. They spent their Sunday night coming out to torment and torture a lot of these students who had great respect for Charlie Kirk, several who had actually met and spent time with Charlie, had worked with him. It's all we could think to do in the moment, Gary, was to use our voices, to do what we could to show our heart and our soul in a moment when they were showing theirs. And look, they were very dark. Like those moments, and I'm sure you've dealt with stressful situations like that in the past. All you can do is contain your rage. You have to try to maintain a professionalism. And I feel the college Republicans, especially the students from NYU, they were wise beyond their years. You'd be very impressed with this young group. And they kept their cool and they sang along. So God bless them.
Yeah, when I was a young street activist and we were out in Chicago, just passing out DVDs, trying to wake up America to what was going on, we were spit on, we were attacked, our cameras destroyed. I mean, I've seen a lot of evil on the streets in some of these cities, but when back then we weren't dealing with, the literal political assassination of a colleague, and to see people come out like this, like for example, this one here, as you know, on the bullet casings, Bella Ciao was put on one of the casings. It's an old anti-fascist song from World War II, and here is a video that you sent me. Protesters singing the song written on the bullet casings, which killed Charlie Kirk. They threatened to kill the NYU College Republican president, Ryan Leonard. They are not looking for peace. This is the moment. I don't even know. I mean, you're looking evil right in the face there.
Oh, it's literally the face of our enemy. They're willing to rub salt in the wound and really get in the face of people who are just mourning the death there. That person, by the way, she didn't even need the phone She'd already memorized those lyrics. Think about that. This, I believe, is indication that it's not just a lone wolf, not just a one-off event. There is an insurgency in this country, and they have a theme song. They have concurrent and shared manifesto and mission. Like they have this obsession with demonizing people like you and I, because they have to dehumanize you and I before they kill us. That's really what it comes down to. If they are unable to dehumanize us, they can justify to themselves that they are in the right, that they can commit such a heinous act, which would again be akin to the heinous act with the carried out on Charlie Kirk. And look, it's not the first time they tried to kill President Trump last year. All right,
Yeah.
we often sometimes forget that the same group, the same satanic cult, this death cult, they tried to kill the sitting president. Okay, and they would be happy to see President Trump die and this country devolve into absolute chaos. But look, by the grace of God, they were not successful. Unfortunately, in the case of Charlie Kirk, they were able to take Charlie out of this world before his time. But the thing that we do control, Gary, is we control whether his mission dies with him. And we're not letting that happen. And I saw in the eyes and the faces of those children that night in NYU, look, they're not going to die. They're happy to confront this evil head on, and they will not cower from this evil. They will face.
We're getting a little bit of connectivity issues. Ed is currently traveling, so bear with us. Hopefully we can get him back to get some closing remarks with respect to what's happening. The ripple effect that we're experiencing, we're seeing now with all these different vigils that are taking place across the country. And, like I was in Northbrook, Illinois, and I saw all these young people coming together. And like what you're going to see right here, this is the vigil that I was at. And there were so many people. Before you go, I know you're traveling. Ed, with respect to the ripple effect, they took out Charlie, and I still can't believe I'm reporting this. They took out Charlie, but what else have they done? I mean, you're seeing these vigils, you're seeing people coming together all over the world, millions and millions of people. I mean, I could not wait to hear my pastor this past Sunday, because I knew it would come up. There's no way you couldn't bring it up. We're seeing it in the churches. We're seeing it in the streets. We're seeing it all over the world. What do you think is going to be the impact of this moment moving forward?
I think that what we witnessed last week was a theft of the innocence of a generation. Too many people were exposed to just a grave, violent, and disgusting act. It's going to change their mindset for the rest of their lives. I think anyone who watched Charlie Kirk perish live on camera and was then berated with not only the video, but also the supporters of such an act, they've been changed, they've been activated, and they know that the things they've heard in church about the devil, about evil, about the very pure, disgusting, and pernicious acts that we will face and have to confront head on as Christians in this world, that they're real. And I think a lot of people grew up very quickly. It's akin to child soldiers in this sense. That when you've been to war, once you've seen the war, bloodshed and violence in first person, what it does is it ages you very quickly. And I think what we're going to see, Gary, is a generation that has now decided that they've come to adulthood. They've come to their time of professionalism. These 20-year-olds, they're going to carry us through into a new era of activism. And it's for you and I think, to serve as mentors, especially as we've been doing for many of the people that we interact with. But more often, I think you're going to find there are going to be a lot of very, very passionate and on fire 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds that we weren't seeing before, because they're willing now to put their lives down, like Charlie did, to ensure victory. And this victory is needed for this country to survive. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm praying again for their protection.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you for taking the time in your travels from New York to share your insights and your firsthand experience at that vigil. So Godspeed, brother, and we'll have you back soon.
God bless you. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. That was Ed Zoll. He's an investigative reporter. He's a producer. Died suddenly is his X account, so make sure you give him a follow. And we're not done with this segment yet because we still have some more to get to. People here, erasing evil. Here's Ted Cruz personally took care of the graffiti on the side of Highway 59 in Houston that said F Charlie Kirk. Texans don't have to look at this hateful garbage anymore. Ted Cruz taking matters into his own hands. J.D. Vance covering for Charlie Kirk today on his show. Here is one segment from it. And I do want to play the closing remarks of the vice president. It's a longer clip, but it's really important that we listen to it. We've also got a longer segment with RFK Jr. I've been told it is a must listen to as well. I'm going to try to get to all these clips. Let's just hear. Here is the press secretary with J.D. Vance on the Charlie Kirk show.
Said behind the.
What do you take from Charlie Kirk, the communicator?
So many things, just by watching him and by being around him. But I think most of all, standing firm in your convictions and picking a fight, especially when you know you have the facts and the truth on your side, but doing it with a smile. And that's something Charlie did so brilliantly and well. He would go to these campus reform events and he would say to the crowd, if you disagree with me, come to the front of the line. And I find myself doing that in the briefing rooms, picking on the reporters whom I know very much disagree with me and with the president. But as long as you believe in what you're saying and you have conviction in it and you have truth and the facts on your side, it makes it a lot easier to say it. And that's what Charlie did for a living. And I know he inspired me as a young voice for President Trump now, like you said, behind the White House podium. And, before every briefing, I always pray to Jesus Christ. And Charlie was so outspoken with his faith, and I will continue to be in honor of him. But I'll also think of Charlie and just how brilliantly he was able to combat the lies with facts and to do it with a smile.
What do you take from Charlie?
Combating the lies with facts. Here's Secretary Kennedy, RFK Jr., sitting down with the vice president, an unprecedented moment where a vice president is filling in on a podcast of someone who is a victim of political violence. There's a lot to get to in this segment, so please stay with me.
Talk, if you would, just a little bit about Charlie's approach to politics and how it ultimately made you one of the most important people in the federal government.
Yeah, well, Charlie was probably the primary architect of my unification with President Trump. I actually announced my endorsement of President Trump at a Turning Point rally in Arizona, which was his idea. And he was, for people who were there, remember it, there was all these kind of fireworks and sparklers on the stage when we shook hands, and that was all Charlie's orchestration. That was his idea, and he insisted on that. But I first met Charlie in July of 2021. I had just written a book about Anthony Fauci, and he had me on his show for this very, very wide-ranging interview in which he really let me talk a lot, which was unusual at that time because I was not allowed to talk on most outlets. Sure. And I think both of us approached each other with some trepidation because we came from such different places. By the end of that interview, I felt like I'd met a spiritual soulmate, and our friendship blossomed after that. And even during the campaign, when he was strongly supporting President Trump, we always had a communication and outreach. And then after I made the endorsement, I saw him all the time, and he helped me a lot during the transition. Yep. As did you, as did Tucker. And helped a lot. Amaryllis, who's my daughter-in-law, he really kind of pushed her a lot to get the job that she has today. So, the thing that united us was his total commitment to free speech.
Talk, if you would, just...
Now, we're going to play the Vice President's closing remarks from the Charlie Kirk show today. But before I do, I want to share with you some important context. Here's the moment. This is the flyover. Took place. NASCAR honoring Charlie Kirk at the Bristol Motor Speedway. An amazing moment. All those people celebrating Charlie Kirk. And, I mean, sadly, though, Aurora, Illinois Fire Department ordered by the mayor to place their flags at full staff. Firefighters said no. Disgraceful things happening across the country. Now, okay, so I want to present something here because we're finding out that, where's that? Okay, so J.D. Vance went and you're going to hear him say about this woman on screen now. Karen Attia. She has been relieved of her job after she published something that was an absolute lie about Charlie Kirk. This is the moment J.D. Vance brought it up, and then we also have Charlie Kirk's statement.
You realize the writer accuses Charlie of saying, and I quote, "Black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously." But if you go and watch the clip, the very clip she links to, you realize he never said anything like that. He never uttered those words.
If we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
The writer accuses Charlie of saying, and I quote,
So
black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously. But
so that's the full context. Now, I want to present to you the remarks from the vice president here on the show. There's a lot to get to. I don't even know how to process all this, but I'm doing my best, folks. The vice president said, if we want to stop political violence like what happened to Charlie Kirk, we have to be honest about the people who are celebrating it and the people who are financing it. My closing remarks on today's episode of the Charlie Kirk Show.
Shortly after Usha and I left Charlie's family and Charlie's remains in Arizona, I read a story in The Nation magazine about my dear friend Charlie Kirk. Now, The Nation isn't a fringe blog. It's a well-funded, well-respected magazine whose publishing history goes back to the American Civil War. George Soros's Open Society Foundation funds this magazine, as does the Ford Foundation and many other wealthy titans of the American progressive movement. The writer accuses Charlie of saying, and I quote, black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously. But if you go and watch the clip, the very clip she links to, you realize he never said anything like that. He never uttered those words. He made an argument against affirmative action as a policy. He criticized a specific Supreme Court justice as an individual. He never said anything about black women as a group. He made an argument for judging people of all races and backgrounds by their own individual merits. The very evidence she provides, this hack of a writer, shows that she lied about a dead man, and yet she wrote it. An esteemed magazine published it. It made it through the editors, and of course, liberal billionaires rewarded that attack. Now, of course, even if Charlie had uttered those words, it wouldn't mean that he deserved his fate. But consider the level of propaganda at work. Charlie was gunned down in broad daylight, and well-funded institutions of the left lied about what he said so as to justify his murder. This is soulless and evil. But I was struck not just by the dishonesty of this smear, but by the glee over a young husband's and young father's death. Quote, she says, he was an unrepentant racist, transphobe, homophobe, and misogynist. The Nation wrote, who often wrapped his bigotry in Bible verses because there was no other way to pretend that it was morally correct. He had children, as do many vile people. That's what they said. He had children, as do many vile people. Now, hours before this smear was published, my wife and I had the honor of escorting Charlie's body back to his home in Arizona. We took his wife, Erica, we love you, his parents, his sister, and a few of his best friends with us. And as they offloaded Charlie's casket from Air Force 2, I worried that Erica would collapse with grief. Now, I am a very lucky husband to a very wonderful wife, but I have never been prouder of my wife than that moment as she held Erica in Erica's very darkest hour. And I thought of Erica as I read that disgusting attack on Charlie. He had children, as do many vile people. That's what they said about him. I said the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And I asked Usha what Erica had said to her earlier in the day in a private moment, and I asked Erica's permission to share this. My wife told me, she asked me for advice. Erica asked me for advice on how she should tell her children that their father had been murdered. She asked my wife how to tell her beautiful kids that their father and my dear, very dear friend is no longer with us. And as she was doing it, there were people dancing on that father's grave. Now, I have heard many calls in the last few days for unity and for healing in the wake of Charlie's assassination. You have no idea how desperately I want that, how gratified I was when Democratic friends and even former Senate colleagues reached out to offer their condolences to me. I'm so thankful. And I know there are so many like them all across our great country. I am desperate to wrap my arms around them as we all unite to condemn political violence and the ideas that cause it. Psalm 133 tells us, behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head. Oh, how badly have I craved that precious ointment in recent days, and I believe we can have it. But first, we must tell the truth. It's the only way to honor Charlie, for what was he, if not a man who told the truth in every place, in every environment? Now, the most important truth Charlie told is this, that long ago a man, begotten, not made, came down from heaven, and by the Holy Spirit was incarnate of the Virgin Mary and became man. For our sake, he was crucified under Pontius Pilate and suffered death and was buried and rose again on the third day. Charlie believed, as I do, that all the truth he told flowed from that fundamental principle. I really do believe that we can come together in this country. I believe we must. But unity, real unity, can be found only after climbing the mountain of truth. And there are difficult truths we must confront in our country. One truth is that 24% of self-described, quote, very liberals believe it is acceptable to be happy about the death of a political opponent, while only 3% of self-described very conservatives agree. 3% is too many, of course. Another truth is that 26% of young liberals believe political violence is sometimes justified, and only 7% of young conservatives say the same. Again, too high a number. In a country of 330 million people, you can, of course, find one person of a given political persuasion justifying this or that or almost anything. But the data is clear. People on the left are much likelier to defend and celebrate political violence. This is not a both sides problem. If both sides have a problem, one side has a much bigger and malignant problem, and that is the truth we must be told. That problem has terrible consequences. The leader of our party, Donald J. Trump, escaped an assassin's bullet by less than an inch. Our House Majority Leader, Stephen Scalise, came within seconds of death by an assassin himself. And now, the most influential conservative activist in generations, our friend Charlie, has been murdered. This violence, it doesn't come from nowhere. Now, any political movement, violent or not violent, is a collection of forces. It's like a pyramid that stacks on top, one support on top of the other. That pyramid's got a foundation of donors, of activists, of journalists, now of social media influencers, and of course of politicians. Not every member of that pyramid would commit a murder. In fact, over 99%, I'm sure, would not. But by celebrating that murder, apologizing for it, and emphasizing not Charlie's innocence, but the fact that he said things some didn't like, even to the point of lying about what he actually said, many of these people are creating an environment where things like this are inevitably going to happen. A couple of months ago, I headlined a fundraiser in Southern California, and since, we'd be out there anyways, my wife and I decided to take our kids to Disneyland one weekend. We had fun, and to be clear, most of the guests said very nice things, or they just left us alone. But there was a loud and very cool minority that would shout at my children, who were 8, 5, and 3, whenever they got the opportunity. "You should disown your dad, you little shit," one middle-aged woman yelled at my 5-year-old. "Tell the Secret Service to protect the Constitution, not your father," screamed another. Are these women violent? Probably not. Are they deranged? Certainly. And while our side of the aisle certainly has its crazies, it is a statistical fact that most of the lunatics in American politics today are proud members of the far left. After Charlie died, one of his friends and one of our senior White House staffers had left-leaning operatives in his neighborhood passing out leaflets telling people what he looked like and where he lived, encouraging neighbors to harass him or, God forbid, to do worse. While he was mourning his dead friend, he and his wife had to worry about the political terrorists drawing a big target on the home he shares with his young children. Are these people violent? I hope not. But are they guilty of encouraging violence? You damn well better believe it. We can thank God that most Democrats don't share these attitudes, and I do, while acknowledging that something has gone very wrong with a lunatic fringe, a minority, but a growing and powerful minority on the far left. There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. Did you know that the George Soros Open Society Foundation and the Ford Foundation, the groups who funded that disgusting article justifying Charlie's death, do you know they benefit from generous tax treatment? They are literally subsidized by you and me, the American taxpayer. And how do they reward us? By setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. I am desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable, and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country. Now, our government, you heard me talk to Stephen Miller about this, will be working very hard to do exactly that in the months to come. We're not always going to get it right. We will sometimes move more slowly than you would like. We will sometimes move more slowly than I want us to. But I promise you that we will explore every option to bring real unity to our country and stop those who would kill their fellow Americans because they don't like what they say.
J.D. Vance hosting for Charlie Kirk. They burned, looted, and murdered. We held prayer vigils. We are not the same. Apparently, kids at school were airdropping the video of Charlie Kirk to other students and celebrating. This one person testifying to that fact. And with all the vigils happening across the world, it is bound to bring out the crazies, as we saw in New York. Well, in one vigil, someone got arrested. A mugshot just dropped to the man who was arrested after vandalizing a Charlie Kirk memorial outside Turning Point USA's headquarters in Arizona. 19-year-old Ryder Coral. Mugshot via News Nation. And he promptly was taken into custody. The mugshot now circulating. As you heard J.D. Vance discussing his talk with Stephen Miller. I think we have that as well. Let's see if I can find. Oh, here's Stephen Miller on the Charlie Kirk show with the vice president.
I've known Charlie for 10 years. He was a treasured friend. And, it's going to sound, he made you believe more in yourself, is the best way I could put that.
That's right.
He was your biggest cheerleader. He would, if I was working on a hard project, an important executive order, a major new initiative, he would give me the strength and the focus to get it done.
That's right.
He was everybody's supporter, enthusiast, cheerleader, promoter. He made all of us better every single day. The memory that I keep turning to is not a single memory. It's a period of a couple months after we won the election. And Charlie was in the campaign or the transition office every single day. And from dawn till dusk, volunteering his time to get into the weeds, the nitty-gritty of government. And he was so damn excited. I mean, it really hurts to think about it right now. He was so excited about all of us being here. And we would be talking about every executive order, every new regulation, every new policy plan. It was such a thrill for me to get to spend a few months of my life, because, he came from the nonprofit, the activist world. I came from the government world. And in this transition, to be able to work hand in hand, take all of his ideas from being the leader of TPUSA, spending time with college students, spending time with activists, and then be able to be with us at the transition to plan out the next step of our government, that was an experience for which I will always be grateful. And the last thing I'll say is that, to my earlier point, Charlie would send me messages all the time, just saying, great work, or here's a new idea, or here's what I think will take this to the next level. And I took them all to heart. And God, I just love the man so much. I've known Charlie for 10 years.
One of Charlie's last actions regarding me was when I posted that Vanity Fair cover. And he shared it out and said, let's share this into existence. And, Charlie didn't interact much with my ex account, but I was really happy when I saw that. We've got this here. RFK Jr. just declared that we are going into overdrive to continue on the mission that Charlie started, and the crowd went wild. Charlie Kirk led the resistance that restored free speech in America.
17-year-old. Now joining us, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yesterday, my 17-year-old niece left for Europe to go to college. And while she was packing, her mother, Amaryllis, my daughter-in-law, noticed that she had put a Bible in her suitcase. And Amaryllis was curious about it. And she asked her, and Zoe said to her, I want to live like Charlie Kirk. There are millions and millions of kids around the country who he inspired who now want to live with Charlie Kirk. And that's a great thing for our country. I met Charlie for the first time in July of 2001. I went on his podcast, and I think we approached each other with a lot of trepidation at that time, but by the end of the podcast, we were soulmates, we were spiritual brothers, and we were friends. And over the next couple of years, our friendship blossomed. He ended up being the primary architect of my unification with President Trump, which I did my endorsement at his rally, at the Turning Point rally in Scottsdale. And he was the one who put the sparklers on the stage when I shook it. He made a big show of it. But the overarching mission of Charlie Kirk was Jesus, but also free speech, and he saw them as intertwined. He thought conversation was the only way we were going to heal our country. Now, we had to learn to talk to each other without vitriol, without poison, without anger. We had to be able to listen to ideas. We had to be able to say what we mean without being mean. And to talk to each other across this divide. It's the only way to end the polarization that's driven now by these algorithms and by all these other forces in our society. And that first conversation with him that I had, we talked a lot. We had a wide-ranging conversation. We talked mainly about the First Amendment. We talked about the fact that our founders put freedom of speech in the First Amendment because all the other rights are dependent on it. A government that can silence its opponents has license for any kind of atrocity. We were specifically talking about what happened during the pandemic. Once the government figured out that we would put up with the censorship, they went after the entire Constitution. Immediately took away our right to assembly, the First Amendment right with social distancing regulations. They shut down the First Amendment right to worship by closing all of our churches for almost a year and keeping the liquor stores open as essential businesses. They went after our Fifth Amendment right to our property rights. They closed down 3.5 businesses with no due process, no just compensation. They went after our Seventh Amendment right to jury trials by making whole categories of businesses that we could no longer sue no matter what they did to us. They went after the Fourth Amendment right, the protection against unwarranted searches and seizures, with all these social distancing regulations that made us have to produce our medical records before we went to a public building or an airplane or enjoyed other constitutional rights. And Charlie, more than any figure in our country, led the resistance that has restored freedom of speech to this country.
I'm going to go ahead and repost that. You can watch the full remarks. But this is far from over. The ripple effect from Charlie Kirk is going to be felt for a very, very long time. The youth is rising up. People who've never been politically active before are rising up. And I hope that you are rising up too. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what separates us from them. While they plot in darkness and celebrate death, America responds with light. NASCAR flyovers, New York streets packed with patriots, candlelight vigils in liberal strongholds. This is how a free people answer terrorism. But notice the double standard. A high school investigating a memorial rock painted for Charlie Kirk, yet the same rock honored George Floyd without question. The message is clear. Conservatives' lives don't matter to the establishment. Secretary Kennedy calling Charlie the architect of unity. The press secretary prays before every briefing in his honor. 37,000 students applied to start Turning Point USA chapters. That's not a memorial. That is a revolution. So here's my question. Should schools that investigate conservative memorials while celebrating leftist tributes lose federal funding? Yes or no? Sound off below. The movement that Charlie built is not dying. It is multiplying. Grab your next news gear from our shop and wear it proud. This is Gary Franchi for the Next News Network. A couple of super chats to speak to here. Jonathan Gray posted this earlier. God bless Charlie Kirk. God bless you. Don't stop fighting. A couple new members have joined us today. Duplicate and TK's Custom Supermods become a member. Better Tomorrow has become a member. We've also got Sarah Carpenter, who's become a member. Oh, TK's Custom Supermods. Yeah, I think you messaged me. Why aren't you at your post? Sarah Carpenter dropping $1.99. Squeeze-a-lot dropping $10. It will not let me say what is the necessary response to truculent behavior. The consequence must be changed. And then we have this from Jonathan Gray. Everyone, please read your King James Bible, Matthew 5, verse 22. You will see Charlie Kirk is in heaven, and his reward is more than we can imagine. You're missed dearly from us all. Can't believe you're gone. I still can't believe it either. Still can't believe it. We're moving along into our next topic. Some remarks from the Oval Office today. And some big moves by the president. Todd, I do believe that the video of that boat that was attacked, another one, just came out. Yeah, I think it just came out. They announced that they did strike it. I think here it is. Yeah, here's the unclassified video that he posted. I just found it. It was a quote tweet from your other bookmarked post. Okay, so I've got that. All right. We're in topic 3. All right. Memphis is bleeding, and President Trump just dropped the hammer after a weekend of carjackings, shootings, and seniors getting body slammed by thugs. The National Guard is rolling into Tennessee's most dangerous city. This is not random violence. It's the direct result of Biden's open borders flooding our streets with Venezuelan gangs and cartel soldiers. Women can't pump gas without staring down gun barrels. Kids caught in the crossfire. Mothers facing multiple weapons in minutes. Local police overwhelmed. Prosecutors won't prosecute, and innocent Americans are dying. But Trump just changed the game. Federal boots on the ground, foreign infiltrators in the crosshairs. The message is clear. Playtime is over. Keep watching. Now, we recently covered a company called Western Star Resources here on the channel, a gold and silver exploration company we believed had serious potential for U.S. expansion. Well, it looks like that move is already in motion. Western Star just signed an MOU with the American Corps to push forward their U.S. growth strategy. And here's why the timing is so important. With domestic demand for precious metals climbing year after year, with the U.S. government making it clear that they want more homegrown exploration instead of relying on foreign supply, companies like Western Star are in a prime position. This is not just about mining, it's about national security, economic stability, and capturing a huge market opportunity. Western Star's expertise, combined with its supportive policy environment, means they're stepping into the U.S. market under the best possible conditions. Could a huge U.S. expansion be next? I wouldn't bet against it. Western Star Resources is making gold and silver great again. You can find out more by visiting the link in the description, westernstarresources.com. We got some declassified video that has just surfaced. You see it on your screen here. President Trump posting it to his Truth Social today. Remarkable video. President Trump says, this morning, on my orders, U.S. military forces conducted a second kinetic strike, positively identified extraordinary violent drug trafficking cartels, narco-terrorists in the Southcom area of responsibility. Strike occurred while these confirmed narco-terrorists from Venezuela were in international waters transporting illegal narcotics, a deadly weapon, poisoning Americans, heading to the U.S. These extremely violent drug trafficking cartels pose a threat to the U.S. national security, foreign policy, and vital U.S. interests. The strike resulted in 3 male terrorists killed in action. No U.S. forces were harmed in the strike. Be warned, if you are transporting drugs that can kill Americans, we are hunting you. The illicit activities by these cartels have wrought devastating consequences on American communities for decades, killing millions of American citizens no longer. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Here's the close-up video of that narco-terrorist boat getting struck by U.S. forces in international waters. President Trump posting this to his Truth Social just a few hours ago. Lots happening in the Oval Office today. President Trump talking about radical leftists and the tremendous violence.
But I didn't say it's on one side, but I say the radical left causes tremendous violence, and they seem to do it in a bigger way. But the radical left really is caused a lot of problems for this country. I really think they hate our country. I didn't say it's on one side.
Stephen Miller in the Oval Office today talking about the attacks on ICE, Border Patrol agents, and those trying to keep those drugs from those narco-terrorists out of our country.
And they bring. Yes, so I believe what you're referring to is there are these nonprofit entities that organize, as the president mentioned, attacks on ICE officers, attacks on Border Patrol agents, organized doxing campaigns, which are a violation of federal law. They break off cement and they bring into riots. They have organized drop points for weapons, organized drop points for a gas mask, organized drop points for all the materials necessary to launch a riot. Of course, you saw that during the Black Lives Matter riots as well, too. So there's this whole network of organizations. And I think the key point the president's been making is somebody is paying for all of this. This is not happening for free. And so under the president's direction, the attorney general is going to find out who is paying for it, and they will now be criminally liable for paying for violence. Yes, so I believe what you're referring to is
they are going to hold them criminally liable. President Trump signing a memorandum to create Memphis Safe Task Force to restore law and order in Tennessee.
Okay.
Wonderful.
The Sharpie of power. The pen is mightier than the sword. Well, that pen is unleashing the sword on those terrorists who are terrorizing people in Memphis. Here's President Trump remarking on the strike on those narco-terrorists.
What can you tell us about this Venezuelan boat that was taken out? And do you plan to provide proof that these were narco-terrorists who were on their way to the U.S.?
Well, we have proof. All you have to do is look at the cargo that was, like, it's spattered all over the ocean. Big bags of cocaine and fentanyl all over the place. And it was, plus we have recorded evidence that they were leaving We've recorded them. It's very careful because we know you people would be after us. We're very careful. The military has been amazing. And General Kane showed me a little while ago the clip, but you can actually see it. But you don't have to see it because we have recorded proof and evidence. We know what time they were leaving, when they were leaving, what they had, and all of the other things that you'd like to have. But we have noticed that there are no ships in the ocean anymore. We're seeing that there's like no ships, when the first one we went, there were hundreds of boats. Now there are no boats. I wonder why. Meaning no drugs are coming across. Probably stopping some fishermen too. I mean, to be honest, if I were a fisherman, I wouldn't want to go fishing. Just a nice, let's take a little trip, because I'd say, man, maybe they think I have drugs downstairs. I don't want that. I think the fishing business probably been hurt. But there are literally no boats. This was a boat, and we were surprised to see it. Now, what does that mean? That means there's no drugs coming by sea. But they do come by land. And you know what? We're telling the cartels right now, we're going to be stopping them too. When they come by land, we're going to be stopping them the same way we stop the boats. And you'll see that. But maybe by talking about it a little bit, it won't happen. If it doesn't happen, that's good. But they killed 300,000 people in our country last year. And we're not letting it happen anymore.
What can you tell us about...
President Trump has had enough. The White House posting this 3 hours ago. Memphis is a deeply troubled city. In 2024, it had the highest violent and property crime rates in the U.S. and the third highest murder rate. President Trump is deploying federal enforcement to lock up career criminals and take back our streets and make Memphis safe again.
4 children were shot inside a home in Hickory Hill. Over the past month, within a quarter mile of the surrounding area, there have been 9 incidents, including burglary, shoplifting, simple assault, motor vehicle theft, and the shooting last night, which MPD confirmed is listed as an aggravated assault.
We're getting more insight into a shooting at a McDonald's in Memphis Sunday afternoon,
with the victim being an employee, a 17-year-old boy who was injured outside of the fast food restaurant.
The president confirming the National Guard is coming to Memphis.
Memphis that's the next city. Deeply troubled.
For all the crime that's going on, it's necessary.
And it's just so dangerous that you can't get out of your car, you can't go to the grocery store. So I want to see the crime stop. And if the National Guard is going to stop the crime, bring them out.
We're going to straighten out the crime in these cities.
That's an official video the White House just published. The National Guard rolling in to Memphis. And with respect to narco-terrorists, we have another terrorist organization being questioned in the Oval Office. A reporter asking, do you plan on designating Antifa as a domestic terror organization?
Well, it's...
Given with all the that's going on with Charlie Kirk's assassination and the left-wing violence going on, do you have plans, and actually this is a great opportunity with all these, do you plan on designating Antifa finally a domestic terror organization?
Well, it's something I would do, yeah. If I have support from the people back here, I think we'd start with Pam, I think. But I would, if you give me, I would do that 100%. And others also, by the way. But Antifa is terrible.
Are there other groups that you can make up?
There are other groups, yeah, there are other groups. We have some pretty radical groups, and they got away with murder. And also, I've been speaking to the Attorney General about bringing RICO against some of the people that you've been reading about that have been putting up millions and millions of dollars for agitation. These aren't protests. These are crimes, what they're doing, where they're throwing bricks at cars of ICE and Border Patrol. And they come in with a beautiful new car. They're so proud. It's Border Patrol, ICE. It's got whatever it is. And they're throwing rocks at it. And after 50 yards, it looks like an old beat-up vehicle. It was just brand new. It was just bought for the purposes. And they don't have to take that anymore. I let it be known. We'll take responsibility. They don't have to take it anymore. And they don't want to take it. They were told by a past administration, it became almost a culture, if somebody throws a rock at you, do nothing. If somebody spits in your face, do nothing. And I say, when they spit, you hit. Do whatever you want. You do whatever the hell you want. I watched it so sick it made me. For 4 years, I had to sit home and watch people screaming at policemen and spitting in their face, and they weren't able to do anything. They just had a grin and bear it. They're standing up like a piece of steel. And a woman, in many cases, women, you can see they're professional agitators. I had one the other night. I had 4 the other night, all in one group, total phonies. I started to scream when I got into a restaurant, oh, you know, something with Palestine. And I said, well, I'm doing a great job for peace in the Middle East. I should get lots of awards for that, right? With the Abraham Accords and everything else. But a woman just stood up and started screaming. And she got booed out of the place, too. There were a lot of people in the restaurant. I went there to show how safe, and it was safe. I mean, the woman is just a mouthpiece. All she was a paid agitator. And you have a lot of them. And I've asked Pam to look into that in terms of RICO, bringing RICO cases against it, criminal RICO, because they should be put in jail. What they're doing to this country is really subversive.
And of course, as we've reported, President Trump is considering a RICO case against George Soros. And that's clearly what he's referring to. Here's more from the Oval Office a few hours ago. Stephen Miller discussing the success of Washington, D.C. and how it will apply to Memphis. As you know, in Chicago, Operation Midway Blitz is already underway.
President Trump's initiative here in Washington, D.C., is important to understand, is the most successful anti-crime initiative in American history. But just think about it for a second. In 30 days, President Trump put together a team that saw the largest ever violent crime reduction in any city in American history. Something that people had not been able to do in 40 years. That is a momentous achievement. And now the president is going to take that same model to Memphis, and as he said, more cities after that. The team that president has put together has no equal today or anywhere in American history. I think what's happening here is that what the president has done is made clear. The power of federal law enforcement that was used for the last 4 years to harass and attack conservatives, to harass and attack Christians, to go after law-abiding families. The power of law enforcement under President Trump is going to be used to get all the criminals, all the violent offenders, all the murderers, all the cartels, and all the domestic terrorists off our streets. So whether you're Antifa, whether you're a domestic terrorist, whether you are a violent gang member, a drug trafficker, a trained Nicaragua killer, or anyone else that's hurting our people, President Trump is saying he's going to use his FBI, his DOD, his ATF, his DEA to wipe you out, to put you in behind bars, to take you off the street, or to apply whatever legal consequences necessary. Mr. President, I'm honored beyond words to be a part of this team under your leadership as you've saved thousands of lives. President Trump's...
And many more thousand will be saved under President Trump's leadership. This morning, on my orders, U.S. military forces conducted a second kinetic strike against positively identified extraordinary violent drug trafficking cartels, saving lives. Here's more President Trump on the tarmac 24 hours ago.
Nicaragua, yeah, I know exactly what's happening. A lot of drugs are coming out of Venezuela. A lot of Nicaragua, they're trying to get out, but we're stopping them successfully at the border in Venezuela. We have a tremendous amount of security. They send the Nicaragua, that's the gang, probably the worst gang in the world, MS-13M. I think they're probably considered worse. And we don't like what Venezuela is sending us, whether it's their drugs or whether it's their gang members. We don't like it. We don't like it one bit. Yeah, I know exactly what's happening.
President Trump targeting Nicaragua. Oh, and speaking of lunatics, here's Jasmine Crockett. Listen to what she says on MSNBC.
Born out of slave, but as somebody who understands history, when I see ICE, I see slave patrols. Now, I never lived through the slave patrol period, but if you know the history of policing in this country, then you understand that they were born out of slave patrols. But as somebody who...
She did forget to mention that those slave patrols were run by the Klan, and those slave patrols were Democrats. 10 hours ago, a woman shot and killed in Memphis. The White House officially stating the crime is out of control. That's why President Trump is taking action to stop it. Several crime prevention organizations in Memphis are looking forward to getting help from the National Guard. Here is the local report on that.
Forward to get news. Several crime prevention organizations who work hand in hand with the city tell Fox 13 they're looking forward to getting some help from the National Guard. Darrell Cowan is the executive director of Hill 901, a violence prevention organization in Memphis. He says last year, many organizations had success fighting crime across the city. The city even saw a 26% drop in homicides from 2023 through 2024. And now Cowan says the National Guard is a good thing. It'll only help push those numbers lower.
Is there an arena that we need some assistance in? Yes. There's a need for more boots on the ground, and evidently this is the way that they plan on getting them. I see that Governor Lee has sent more state troopers. Now we have the National Guard. So it's a whole lot of things and nuances that are taking place that we're just trying to wrap our heads around on how to navigate.
News. Memphis in the crosshairs of the administration. Here is Secretary Noem on Fox Business with Maria Bartiromo discussing about what they're going to do with the Memphis mayor.
It's good to have, well, the president will be working with the local mayor and the governor in Tennessee to make sure that operations are streamlined and that we're effective and that we're going after the worst of the worst, those criminals that are there, getting them off the streets and making it safer. So it's good to have local leaders that understand the importance of the work that this president is doing and that you can't have a successful society unless they can be free, unless they can go out and pursue their dreams and build businesses and live in their homes and send their kids to school and not have to worry about them at night. So the president is very engaged on this issue. He's grateful for the partnership of those local leaders, and we're looking forward to making a big difference there for the people that are in Tennessee. Well, the president...
I was just in Memphis recently when I was returning from the Ron Paul 90th birthday party, and we went out to eat, took the whole family out on the Beale Street. Had a nice evening. It was very quiet. It was a Sunday night. There was law enforcement present, and it was a nice family evening. I was concerned about potential crime. We did not encounter any, thank God. But President Trump clearly sending a big message today.
Of our future.
Here is more from.
And that includes.
Here's more from Secretary Noem.
We talk a lot about cartels and known and suspected terrorists and gang organizations, but the fact is that those evil foreign governments that have sought to take us down for decades and decades, such as China, they infiltrated our country too. They crossed those borders under the Biden policies that opened us up and made us so vulnerable for national security threats. So we do have efforts to make sure that we're removing those individuals as well. And listen, we're a nation of laws. We have borders. We enforce those laws now. We will go after every single person that is a criminal alien that needs to be removed for the safety of our future. And that includes not just cartels and not just foreign terrorist organizations. It includes those evil foreign governments who sent people here too. But we talk a lot about cartel.
A mother recently carjacked in Memphis says she had 2 guns put in her face within 5 minutes.
I got 2 guns put in my face within 5 minutes.
At different locations?
It's 2 different locations.
A mother carjacked at gunpoint. Memphis police are searching for the people they say robbed and carjacked 2 women at a gas station in Orange Mound.
Now, this happened Saturday night, 10:45 on Lamar Avenue. And tonight, only on Fox 13, the victim breaks down how these terrifying moments all started. Fox 13 Sierra Jordan has that story.
The mother told me all she could think about was her daughter as a gun was pointed at her face. And now she says she is just grateful to be alive.
I was scared, and I was just hoping that he didn't shoot me. And I just threw my hands up and just backed away.
What started as a quick stop for gas turned into a traumatic experience for Regina Seymour and her friend on August 16th. Seymour told Fox 13 they stopped at Save & Go gas station on Park Avenue just after 10. Then, she says, as they were backing out, they were hit by a black Cadillac.
It kind of shocked me because when he came up, then I looked down, I seen that he had a whole gun. So I was looking like a deer caught in the headlights. My friend was looking at me, I'm looking at her. He was like, give me what you get. What you get? What you get? And I'm like, I ain't got nothing.
Seymour says the suspect took her phone, demanded money, then walked back to his vehicle. That is when she says she escaped the gunman, hoping she was safe. But police records showed the black Cadillac followed her up a street to a quick stop gas station on Lamar Avenue. This time, two men with guns jumped out of the car, demanded her 2017 Outlander and everything inside.
As I tried to protect myself, I grabbed the weapon that I had in my car, which was a knife. He pulled out a gun that had like a barrel clip on it and said, "Get back, B, before I kill you."
The suspects drove off with her car, 2 designer purses, wallets, IDs, and hundreds of dollars. Seymour says after losing a loved one to gun violence last year, she wants tougher laws to keep violent offenders behind bars.
I can get another purse or whatever, but I know I can't get no another life. When they go to jail for these crimes, these aggravated crimes, y'all gonna have to leave them in jail with no bond. You cannot give them no bond. They're gonna make it, and they're gonna get out of jail and commit more crimes and harm.
And that's why no cash bail is a huge problem. Carjackings. A 6-year-old carjacking victim in Memphis body slammed to the ground, resulting in major bruising to her body and a head injury. Rapid Response 47 says the residents of Memphis won't have to live like this any longer. President Trump sending in the National Guard. Another one saying it's so dangerous you can't get out of your car, you can't go to the grocery store. I want to see the crime stop, and if the National Guard is going to stop the crime, bring them on. So President Trump rolling out the roadmap that he put forth in Washington, D.C. across major cities now. As we just saw in Chicago, now Memphis. Remains to be seen exactly what city will be next. But I'll tell you one thing, we will certainly be tracking every single move. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Here's what the radical left does not understand. Americans are done being victims. Memphis residents are begging for the National Guard because they can't leave their homes without facing gun barrels. A 6-year-old woman body slammed so hard she suffered head injuries. Mothers robbed at gunpoint twice in 5 minutes. Downtown shooters spraying bullets like it's Mogadishu. Trump has heard their cries and he is acting. DHS Secretary Noem confirmed what we've known. Foreign governments use Biden's border chaos to embed killers in our cities. These are not random criminals. They're an invasion force. Representative Jasmine Crockett calls ICE slave patrols while Americans bleed. And the disconnect is absolutely criminal. So here's my question. Should cities that refuse to cooperate with ICE lose all federal funding immediately? Drop a yes or a no. Let me know. Because the guard's coming, the gangs are running, and law and order is returning. You can support our work here. Gear up with some Next News merch. The link is in the description. This is Gary Franchi for the Next News Network. Squeeze a lot, dropping $10. And he says, let us not forget our champions at N3 before you sleep. Thank you. Do not forget to say a prayer for them. May they stride forward with the full armor of God. I lived in Memphis. The education system has failed them. Thank you, Squeeze a lot. Appreciate that. Okay, we got some more news. Good news. President Trump is on fire. The economy is roaring. We just got to get these interest rates dropped. That is the last thing. And wait till you see. And that's why Jerome Powell he's got to go. I don't know. Trump's got to fire him on his ass. Tyson, absolutely. We are tired of this. Bill's rules, a lot of information. Yes, sir, a lot of information to process. Remember Charlie Kirk? This event will not be forgotten. Yes, Joe. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time, says Oakwood. Roaring Lion says, not in California. It sucks. Ezra said one. Is Antifa an official terrorist organization yet? I think they're looking at that. Powell needs to resign. Yeah. We are Charlie Kirk. Yes, we are. All right. Let's see where we're going to start with this one. All right. The Madrid summit just became China's economic Waterloo. Trump's negotiators didn't just win, they demolished Beijing's entire trade strategy. Tariffs are crushing their exports. American manufacturing is exploding. The shipbuilding industry can't hire fast enough. And now the Supreme Court is about to make Trump's tariff powers permanent law. Stock markets hitting record highs while Trump publicly humiliates Fed Chair Powell. Jerome Too Late Powell, he mocks, adding, when asked about the replacement, other than I don't like him. China came to Madrid thinking they'd negotiate. Instead, they got an ultimatum. Xi Jinping is going to be calling Trump on Friday, not to bargain, but to accept the terms. This isn't trade policy, it's economic conquest, so watch closely. Now, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors, because we recently covered a company called Western Star Resources here on the channel, a gold and silver exploration company we believe has serious potential for U.S. expansion. Well, it looks like that move is already in motion. Western Star just signed an MOU with the American Corp to push forward their U.S. growth strategy, and here's why the timing's important. With domestic demand for precious metals climbing year after year, and with the U.S. government making it clear they want more homegrown exploration instead of relying on foreign supply, companies like Western Star are in a prime position. Now, this is not just about mining. It's about national security, economic stability, and capturing a huge market opportunity. Western Star's expertise combined with a supportive policy environment means that they're stepping into the U.S. market under the best possible conditions. Could a huge U.S. expansion be next? I would not bet against it. Western Star Resources is making gold and silver great again. You can find out more by visiting the link in the description, westernstarresources.com. And we appreciate their support of our program. Now, the United States and China have reached a framework agreement to switch TikTok to U.S.-controlled ownership, with President Trump set to speak with Chinese President Xi on September 19th. Let's go to the Treasury Secretary.
As ambassador, we have a framework for a TikTok deal. The two leaders, President Trump and Party Chair Xi, will speak on Friday to complete the deal, but we do have a framework for a deal with TikTok. Getting to this framework was made possible by President Trump and the high regard that President Trump has for Party Chair Xi. So when the leaders have mutual respect, then the delegations have mutual respect. And as Ambassador Greer said, we were in substantial contact with President Trump last night and then again today. We're not going to talk about the commercial terms of the deal. It's between two private parties, but the commercial terms have been agreed upon. The
commercial terms have been agreed upon. I'm really curious to find out who is going to be acquiring TikTok. Looks like we have, Brian Stelter weighing in. With the next TikTok deadline looming, Trump just said, we may let it die or we may. I don't know. It depends. It's up to China. Well, it looks like that deal has been made.
Agnostic about. The president just spoke about this moments ago when he's on the way back to Washington from his resort in Bedminster. He said he is working toward an agreement with China about TikTok, but he also said, quote, we may let it die or we may. I don't know. It depends. It's up to China. So the president sounding agnostic about the future of the app, according to CNN's Kevin Liptak, but he did credit the app with helping him to win re-election in 2024. So Trump is saying he would like to keep TikTok online to, quote, for the kids. He knows he likes it. He knows the kids like it, he said. So he's recognizing the incredible popularity of TikTok, but he does seem somewhat agnostic about the future. Now, Trump has already extended the...
Now, If you've ever spent any time on TikTok, it's basically a lot of brain rot. I mean, it really depends on, how much time you spend there, what the algorithmic detection picks up about what you're watching, and it takes you down a rabbit hole. And with the radical indoctrination of our youth, it's terrifying when you think about the rabbit holes that they're going down. Now, 60 Minutes recently did a piece. Our producer, Todd, sent it to me. Basically, it explains how in China, what TikTok presents to its people is all science and exploration and patriotism of their nation. But that's what they show. That's what the algorithm shows in China. But the same app in the United States shows trans this and all kinds of just garbage that eats at the fabric of our society. So in my opinion, TikTok is really just a Trojan horse to destroy the United States. So it's a good thing that we're seeing it be taken over by a U.S. company. The question is who and what will they do with that algorithm to make that platform better. This is also from Madrid. China's Vice Minister of Commerce Li Changgang confirmed at a briefing that U.S. and Chinese delegations reached a framework consensus. Secret trade talks.
And trade. Good afternoon, press. We appreciate your presence and continued interest in U.S.-China trade discussions. Over the past 2 days, high-level U.S. and Chinese delegations held productive talks in Madrid, Spain, addressing critical economic matters. Both sides actively implemented the consensus reached by our two heads of state, leveraging the established U.S.-China trade consultation mechanism. Based on mutual respect and equal consultation, we held candid, in-depth and constructive discussions on a wide range of economic and trade issues, including TikTok. Both sides recognize that a stable, predictable U.S.-China economic and trade relationship is vital for the prosperity of both countries and has a major impact on global economic stability and development. As two major countries with different development stages and economic systems, it is normal for the US and China to encounter disagreements and friction in extensive trade cooperation. The key, however, is to consistently respect each other's core interests and concerns, diligently working towards proper, mutually acceptable solutions through ongoing dialogue and consultation. Regarding the TikTok issue, the Chinese side has consistently opposed the politicization, instrumentalization, and weaponization of technology and trade issues, and will never seek to reach any agreement at the expense of our principled positions, corporate interests, and international fairness and justice. The Chinese side will resolutely safeguard our national interests and the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese companies, and will conduct technology export reviews in accordance with laws and regulations. At the same time, the Chinese government fully respects the company's intentions and supports them in conducting equal commercial negotiations based on market principles. During these discussions, both parties engaged in a candid and in-depth exchange of views regarding TikTok and the specific concerns raised by the Chinese side, and successfully achieved a basic framework consensus aimed at cooperatively resolving all TikTok-related issues, reducing existing investment barriers, and actively promoting relevant trade cooperation. The dedicated teams from both sides will continue to maintain close and ongoing communication, diligently negotiate the intricate details of the relevant outcome documents, and
President Trump excited about the tariffs.
In the history, we have two things. We've been successful because of the tariffs. It's given us a great power to negotiate with other countries that took advantage of us. Tremendous power. Also, it's brought in trillions of dollars into our country. We have a big case brought by foreign governments because the foreign governments have been ripping us off for years, and it's now in the Supreme Court. That case is really important to win because it's made us a rich country. It's made us a rich country. Because I don't want to call it retribution, but we've been ripped off.
Trying to rebalance.
We've been ripped off for years by countries and by having presidents that were not smart in a business sense. I'm not saying they were good politicians, but they were stupid businessmen. They allowed the world to rip us off. If we don't, that Supreme Court case is so important. And frankly, this economy, if we win the tariff case, which we should on the legal merits, but on common sense merit, we would have to give back trillions of dollars
to these countries.
Can you imagine? All those deals, we would have to give back trillions and trillions of dollars because we got it because of tariffs. That case is one of the most important cases in the history of our. We have two.
President Trump looking at the stock market.
Again, it's happening. But I chose to do it. I love doing it because we're going to make America great again. It's happening. So look at the stock market. We've had the stock market hitting record highs every day. Never been higher. People, last night at the Yankee game, the cops are coming over to me. I love the police here. I love them all over the place, frankly. Sir, you've made me look like a genius. My wife finally respects me. My 401k is through the roof. He said, I've never had. She thinks I'm a financial genius. I made him into a financial genius.
And U.S. shipbuilding industry is booming and creating a huge demand for skilled workers. U.S. Department of Labor posting this 7 hours ago.
For Kenneth Moore, welding is something new.
I learned how to use a stick for the welding and also learning how to balance my stand, also holding the rod in order to keep it steady.
All skills needed out in the field and taught here at the Tidewater Community College's Skilled Trades Academy. For another student, Tobin Champney, the skills he's learning are more than just for the job. They're a foundation for life.
Everywhere you look, there's welds, there's beads everywhere. It's supporting this whole building up, so it feels pretty good.
According to the American Welding Society, right now there are over 771,000 welding professionals in the United States. Over 320,000 welding professionals will be needed by 2029. Mike Vanderwerf is the program manager for the academy. Located in the heart of Portsmouth's shipbuilding industry, he says the academy partners with local companies to ensure students are job ready.
We actually meet face to face, shake hands, come and visit. Companies come in, hire our students right out of the welding booth. They'll use my office for the interview, and the students leave that day for the job.
The school is located right in the epicenter of marine.
Skilled workers making a comeback. NBC, look at this, claims that Lisa Cook suddenly exonerated because of a loan estimate she got 2 months before the closing is false. James Fishback posting this. Lisa Cook still in the crosshairs. You don't declare anything on a loan estimate. It's non-binding. The word declare doesn't even appear in the page. It's purely an estimate. NBC News. Lisa Cook declared in financial forms that her Atlanta property would be used as a vacation home, not her primary residence. But that's something different, right? Here's President Trump blasting Jerome Powell.
We've ever had. I call him Too Late. His nickname is Too Late. Okay, Jerome Powell. Jerome Too Late Powell. Too late on the interest rates. Always late, except when it came to a Democrat, because before the election he dropped the interest rates to try and help Kamala Harris. I guess. I assume that's why, because he shouldn't have dropped the interest rates then. He should have dropped. But he's a year late, and despite that, we have the best economy we've ever had. We have the best stock market we've ever had. In other words, what we've created is so strong. We have $17 trillion going to be invested in this country. Think of it. They didn't have, they had nothing. They had people leaving our country. We have the greatest boon in the history, and that's why the stock market went up 700 points yesterday.
Inflation is down.
Inflation's down. Well, I have low inflation. Yeah. He had the highest inflation in history. I call him too
late for sure. Get those interest rates down. Let's get this country back on track. Here's President Trump 24 hours ago being asked about the Fed chair.
Any progress on the Fed chair, Mr.?
Well, other than I don't like him.
No, but
he's incompetent. The Fed chairman's incompetent. Sure, I have three people that I like a lot. Any one of them would do a good job.
Mr. President, one more on Venezuela.
But I think you have a big cut. Because I don't think he can help with cutting. It's perfect for cutting. And the thing that he's hurting the most is housing for people. But because we're doing well in everything. Energy's way down. Groceries are down. Everything, almost everything is way down. But housing, because of the Fed, is not what it should be.
Any progress on the Fed chair?
Yep. He needs to get those rates down. U.S. and Chinese officials conducted first day of talks in Madrid. TikTok's getting sold. The framework has been reached. Friday is the day. President Trump stating, subject to SEC approval, companies and corporations should no longer be forced to report on a quarterly basis, rather report on a 6-month basis. Will save money, allow managers to focus on properly running their companies. You ever hear of a statement like that China has 50, 100-year view on management of a company, whereas we run our companies on a quarterly basis? Not good. President Trump also running a big trade meeting in Europe between the United States of America and China. Gone very well. It will be concluding shortly. A deal was reached on a certain company young people in our country very much wanted to save. Talking about TikTok. Here's more on that from Ambassador Greer.
Leverage he provides. I have to say, too, that President Trump played a role in this. We had a call with him last night. We had specific guidance from him. We shared it with our Chinese counterparts. And without his leadership and the leverage he provides, we would not have been able to conclude the deal today.
Yes, as Ambassador Greer said, that the getting to this framework was made possible by President Trump and the high regard that President Trump has for Party Chair Xi. So when the leaders have mutual respect, then the delegations have mutual respect.
So we're going to wait and see who bought TikTok. The economy is roaring back. President Trump on fire about the Fed. Shipbuilding's coming back, and so is America. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. This is economic warfare at its finest, patriots. Trump turning tariffs into tactical nukes and forcing China to negotiate on our terms. We've been successful because of tariffs, he declared. The proof's in the numbers. Record stock market highs while China scrambles to save face. The Supreme Court case on tariffs could lock in America's economic dominance for generations. Meanwhile, Trump openly mocking Jerome Too Late Powell. When asked about replacing the Fed chair, he says, I got 3 others. That's power. The TikTok framework deal proves Beijing can be broken. Friday is going to be a big day. The Trump Z call isn't a negotiation. It's China's surrender ceremony. So here's my question. Should Trump use tariffs to force all American companies to leave China within 12 months? Yes or no? Drop your answer below. Because America First is not a slogan. It's a battle plan. You can support the fight by checking out our merch shop, linked down below. This is Gary Franchi for the Next News Network. Jonathan Gray, $5. Thank you, sir. I misquoted the Bible verse earlier. It's Matthew 5, verse 11 and 12. God bless. Good night, all from Tennessee. Thank you, Jonathan. Moving into our final topic of the evening. Yes. Something a little on the lighter side of the news. But it's going viral. It is going viral. This crazy meteor has apparently growing tentacles. Is it real? Or is it Memorex? We're going to find out. Do we have the original shot of the meteor? Okay, here it is, yes. All right. Something is happening that makes politics look like a sideshow. A woman speaks Christ's name to a hovering orb and it responds. A meteorite crashes in Panama, starts smoking, and then grows tentacles like something out of science fiction. Like Havasu residents capture UFO footage so clear even skeptics are speechless. But with AI, you don't know what's real anymore. Witnesses, though, reported coordinated craft behavior, pointing a laser at one, and reinforcements arrive. One man claims he's seen over 100 UAPs. Joe Rogan admits nobody tells him anything about UFOs anymore. It's not random phenomena. It's accelerating, coordinating, and responding to human interaction while we fight political battles below. Something is stirring above. The question isn't whether they are real anymore. The question is, what do they want? So stay tuned. Now, we recently covered a company called Western Star Resources here on the channel, a gold and silver exploration company we believe had serious potential for U.S. expansion. Well, it looks like that move is already in motion. Western Star just signed an MOU with the American Corp to push forward their U.S. growth strategy. And here's why the timing is so important. With domestic demand for precious metals climbing year after year, and with the U.S. government making it clear they want more homegrown exploration instead of relying on foreign supply, companies like Western Star are in a prime position. Now, this is not just about mining. It's about national security, economic stability, and capturing a huge market opportunity. Western Star's expertise combined with a supportive policy environment means they're stepping into the U.S. market under the best possible conditions. Could a huge U.S. expansion be next? I would not bet against it. Western Star Resources is making gold and silver great again. You can find out more about them by visiting westernstarresources.com. It is linked down in the description. So videos are going viral right now about this strange meteorite. A man in Panama, his TikTok account is Kin Panama on TikTok, claims a smoking hot meteorite crashed in his backyard on August 29th. The meteorite progressively showed anomalous attributes each day as each day went by and now has grown tentacles. Here's the first visual of this meteorite.
¿De qué galaxia?
And he's putting a leaf on the meteorite. And it appears to burn the leaf.
Totalmente.
Not sure exactly what's causing that. But this is the visual of that same meteorite that appears to have grown some appendages that move. Another video we'll show you here. This is him driving in his car. He's decided to put it in a safe. Now, has this been debunked? It's possible. We're going to find out what the latest is with this because everyone is talking about it. This is the so-called new footage of the Panama alien.
De un meteorito.
And you can see it moving. It's unclear exactly what is causing all this. Here's another video.
If this video is legit, we are cooked. Seriously. So a man in Panama claims that he found a freshly fallen meteorite recently. At first, it looked just like a rock from space. So he collected it and he kept it. And then he started doing experiments with it and noticed some very strange things about it. For example, he put a leaf on it and it wilts the leaf and then basically burns the leaf, like burns through it, which is strange. And over time, he noticed some even stranger things occurring. For example, the spot in the dirt where it landed actually glows at night. I don't know if it's like radioactive material or what. But then something even more bizarre and frankly, I'd say concerning started happening. It started growing something. So here's the debate. Is this just local fungi or spores from the ground, or could it actually be an extraterrestrial microbe that hitchhiked across the cosmos? I mean, normally anything living would burn up when a meteorite blasts through Earth's atmosphere, but not everything is fragile. We've actually found bacteria here on Earth that survive in the most extreme places, like microbes that thrive in underwater volcanic vents that are hotter than boiling water. So, I mean, could life from out there be hardy enough to survive a fiery crash through our skies? Maybe. Allegedly, this guy is taking the meteorite to a university in Panama for testing, but whatever the growth is, it is like nightmarish looking. I mean, what do you think? Is this a potential microbe that survived through the atmosphere, or is it something local that got on it like a spore on the ground? Or is it a hoax? I don't know, but whatever this is bizarre if it is real. If there are any experts out there, please chime in.
Now, what we do know is that just recently, NASA has declared that they have found life or signs of life. They found signs of life on Mars, bacteria. Congress just held a UAP hearing where witnesses came forward and stated that there is intelligent life. The United States is keeping it from the American people. Credible witnesses. We covered it all last week. That's when the hearing was. But, and then we have this. A UFO sighting over Lake Havasu, Arizona. Amazing clarity even by today's standards. Now, again, I don't even know what's real anymore. Like, I can usually spot a good AI video, but maybe this is AI. And even there's not even a community note under this. This is 24 hours old. Normally, 40,000 views. It would normally have a community note by this time.
There goes a... It must be about 3,000 feet up now, I'd say. Wow, look at that. Nobody's going to believe this except I got it on film, huh? I keep losing it. There it is.
I can't get it.
There goes a jet right by it. Well, a little higher. There's a jet, and there's the saucer.
Holy crap.
I got a better view of it now.
I know.
Wow. It must be.
Now, I mean, could it be a balloon? A children's birthday balloon? You know, those aluminum or those foil balloons. But this thing looks like it's holding a position. And if it was a balloon, it'd be blowing. I don't know. It's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. But this is what was just captured. Lake Havasu, Arizona. And then we have this. We have this story of a guy shining a laser at a UAP and then backup arrives. This was published 72 hours ago. Now, this type of behavior, shining a green light, a green laser into the sky, big no-no, especially with air traffic. That's a federal offense. So if this was an airplane, this guy would be in big trouble. So let's check this out. Backup arrives, supposedly. Let's see if there's no audio, apparently. He taps, you can see it. He's like right on it. Like, why would you want, I mean, it's just a dot in the sky. And then where's the backup? Is that another one? Is that the backup? Oh, I see what they're doing here. Okay, and another dot shows up. I mean, there's nothing really here you can... Oh, wow. That's bizarre.
You see that, Coach Q?
Oh, there is audio.
Yeah, all over the fucking place. What the fuck?
I mean, are those fireflies by a tree? What in the heck? Whoa. Yeah, that's bizarre. I want to find the one about where they said Jesus and then the thing moves. Let's see where that clip is here. Okay. Woman zooms in on an orb, speaks to it, and the orb responds when she says, "Jesus loves me."
If I can do this today. Where am I? In between those two trees. see if I can zoom in more. I know I can, but my fingers don't work. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. There we go. Let's see if we can zoom in. That's kind of cool. Look at that. Can you talk to me? Can you hear me? Jesus loves me. Oh, you know Jesus. You know Jesus. Jesus is awesome, isn't he? Yes, he is. God is good.
Come on. What?
God is good. God is good.
I mean, that could be...
If I can do this today.
I mean, she's clearly outside. I was going to say maybe it's a drop of water on a window pane. But it's like... Okay, there is a community note on this I think we should look at. Let's see if we've... Okay, so here's the community note. Let's see what they say. The orb is a circle of confusion, or also commonly known as a blur spot. It's a well-known phenomenon, video explaining it 8 minutes and 9 seconds. The waves seen when zooming in on lights are caused by lens aberration, digital zoom artifacts, possibly heat waves, or breath near the camera. It's a mix of camera limitations and light distortion, not a response. Interesting. What do you guys think? But what about that, has this tentacled meteorite been debunked? Well, Skywatch Signal is asking the meteorite alien debunked. I have been asked to share this here, and here's the most plausible explanation. Wild videos from Panama showing what appears to be black viscous substance growing from a supposed meteorite fragment in Panama. The clips have millions of views, with people genuinely convinced they're watching alien life emerge and move around like something straight out of a Venom movie. Sorry to break it to you, but what it actually is polydimethylsiloxane, PDMS, or just a silicone polymer. Same stuff used in medical implants, cookware, and various industrial applications, and a little bit of hexane, which is a common organic solvent. The alien wiggling movement is caused by something called swelling-induced snapping motion, which happens when PDMS absorbs the hexane and swells. As the hexane evaporates or redistributes, different parts of the PDMS contract at different rates. This creates sudden snapping movements that look organic and alive. The irregular timing makes it appear like the substance is breathing or reaching. PDMS, excuse me, has a flesh-like texture and appearance, and the swelling contracting mimics muscle movement, and the black color adds to the alien aesthetic. Haha! When he's touching it with his fingers, just know neither PDMS nor hexane are particularly dangerous in small amounts, but hexane vapor should be avoided in enclosed spaces. While a cool visual, this type of material behavior isn't really new, as researchers have been studying swelling-induced motion for applications in soft robotics, self-actuating materials, artificial muscles, and smart materials that respond to environmental changes. What we are seeing is how cool material science can be. The fact that simple chemistry can create something so convincingly alive is pretty cool, but sus AF on this dude's part. Guys, let's put this to bed. If you're not convinced, here's a great video demonstrating from 3 years ago. One of my favorite YouTubers. I'm not sure who that YouTuber is. I think there's more. Okay, the Truth Poll had this debunk. Apparently, the Panama meteorite venom symbiote-like substance that's been gradually growing shenanigans is a series that the original poster of the videos made for entertainment. According to the owner of Kin Panama, he added on his TikTok bio saying the videos are for entertainment after getting millions of views and attention around the world. One thing that stood out is that he started getting protective over whatever that's growing from the meteorite before adding to his bio that he put them in danger in his videos, saying maybe it's fake, maybe he changed his mind after gaining mass attention to it, who knows, until the truth comes out, this will be debunked as fake. Yeah, so I started seeing this trending all over, and now it is apparently debunked, but what, I don't know, these other things, this Jesus orb, this laser pointer, not quite debunked yet. But what is Joe Rogan saying here?
No one tells me organized and well-funded. I'm not organized, and I guess I'm well-funded, but it's not for that.
No, but it's no one from tells having me, the audience.
Yeah, but it's like no one tells me anything. Like, I can have on UFO people, I can have on comedians. No, there's no feedback. I have no feedback. There's no exchange between me and Spotify in terms of who you got this week. What's the month look like? Tell us the big names. They started at the beginning of the deal. They said, okay, who's going to be the people the first week? And my manager's like, hey, it's the same show. You bought the #1 show in the country. He's not doing anything different. And they're like, well, we would like to get some big names out of the gate. Like,
yeah. Like, that's just that's not what we do here.
No, I'm not going to change. It's the same show. Organized and well-funded. I'm not organized. And
as you know, there was a UAP hearing last week. So while this tentacled meteorite has apparently been debunked, like I said, these other ones I can't figure it out. Maybe you guys can help me out in the comments. But if you got value from this, please let me know. A little lighter side of the news. Tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So, what we're witnessing defies every paradigm. Okay? We have an orb that responds to the name of Jesus. We have a laser that is aggravating a UFO. And now a meteorite that was supposedly mutating into a living organism with tentacles, but looks like just a circus trick. You know, some of it's science fiction, some of it's not. It's documenting reality, though, right here. Now, this Panama entity, I don't think it's mankind's first contact with alien biology. The orb intelligence, though, suggests maybe they're not just craft, they're conscious. Or maybe it's just a lens flare in someone's breath. But Joe Rogan's admitting information blackout. The government knows more than they're telling us. That's why they're having hearings in Congress. So the question is, are these beings responding to Earth's spiritual warfare between good and evil? When orbs react to Christ's name, when witnesses see hundreds of craft, when meteorites supposedly become life forms? We're really past the point of denial. So here's the question. Do you believe that these UAP phenomena are connected to biblical prophecy? Yes or no? The truth is bigger than politics. And you can stock up on some Next News gear at the link below. This is Gary Franchi for the Next News Network. All right. We've got a couple of super chats. Thank you, guys. We're at $78.99. This is your last chance if you want to get in. Help us hit $100 today. Squeeze-a-lot says, should have kept A1 contained until it was ready to fight the other A1. And he also drops $2. Humans creates warp drive second coming imminent? I think so. Personally. So, Patriots, what we have witnessed today isn't just news, it's history unfolding in real time. Charlie Kirk's assassination. Oh, I can't believe I'm even having to say those words. It wasn't random violence. It was coordinated political terrorism. The FBI has discovered Discord logs, DNA evidence, a network of conspirators who planned, executed, and celebrated murder. Armed queers of Salt Lake City deleted their accounts the moment that Kirk died. 7 social media accounts showed foreknowledge. This was not a lone wolf. This was a pack hunt. But America's response overwhelming. NASCAR flyovers thundered. Charlie's tribute across Bristol Motor Speedway. New York streets erupted with chants of his name. From White House tributes to Texas highways where Ted Cruz personally erased hate graffiti, this nation proved that political violence will not silence us. Our boy dropping $10, declaring we are Charlie Kirk, because we are Charlie Kirk now. They're not going to silence us. 37,000 new Turning Point USA chapters flooding in. That is not grief, that is mobilization. Meanwhile, President Trump orchestrating economic domination in Madrid. He forced China to bend on TikTok. The framework deal is done. Xi Jinping calls Trump on Friday to formalize the surrender. Tariffs built our leverage. The Supreme Court will cement it. Squeeze a lot, dropping another $10. Thank you. We are Charlie Kirk. We're at $98.99. We only need $2 to get over our goal today. Tariffs built our leverage. The Supreme Court will cement it. The stock market celebrates with record highs. Trump roasting Jerome Powell on national television. Too late. When asked about replacing him, he smirked. I've got 3 lined up already. That is leadership without apology. And of course, Memphis, drowning in blood until Trump acted. Carjacking, shootings, grandmothers body slammed, mothers facing multiple guns in minutes. The National Guard now deploying to restore order. DHS Secretary Noem confirming foreign gangs infiltrated during Biden's border chaos. These are not random criminals. They are an invasion force that Trump is systematically destroying, like he did in Washington, D.C., like he's doing in Chicago, and now Memphis. And above it all, the cosmos itself seems to be responding. A meteorite in Panama mutated into a tentacled organism? Or did it? UFO orbs responding when a witness speaks Christ's name? Or was it just breath on a screen? Lake Havasu, though, captured crystal clear craft footage. Was it a balloon or something more? And then someone aiming a laser at a UAP, and all of a sudden, backup arrives like a coordinated military response? Squeeze a lot, dropping the second $2 right there. We are now at $100.99. Thanks, guys, for helping us over the target today. So what are we witnessing? It's beyond politics, something that challenges our understanding of reality itself. So to everybody who sent in super chats and Rumble rants tonight, squeeze a lot. R. Boyd, Jonathan Gray, Sarah Carpenter, AJ Cruz. You guys make the show electric. Your voice is your passion. Your refusal to be silenced. That's what the Raw Feed's about. So tell a friend about the show. Text in the link. Share it on every platform. Hit our merch shop, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, and wear your values proudly. From exposing assassinations to documenting Trump's victories, from National Guard deployments to alien encounters, we brought you unfiltered truth. The establishment wants you afraid, silent, and compliant. Well, we choose courage, volume, and defiance. This is the Raw Feed, where truth lives, where patriots gather, and where the real story gets told. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for standing strong, and we'll see you on the next show. This is Gary Franchi reminding you, stay vigilant, stay free, and keep fighting, because we are all Charlie Kirk now.